This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Well, good evening, 7 o'clock. It is a Tuesday night, and you are in Studio C with Clayton McKee and company. I am Clayton, alongside Marnie Ryer, and Al Perkins are here. Katie June running just a little bit behind. She had a meeting downtown, and, well, you know, she's an important woman with important woman things to do, so.
Is that what you say about me when I'm late?
Yes, every time.
So.
That's exactly what
I just never go back and listen to the beginning. So
we were just standing in the commissary, and he says, well, I said, well, Katie's running late, and he said, well, Marnie's in the driveway. I said, well, she's on the phone, I'm sure, and solving world problems.
There's an odd woman in your driveway.
She's in a Subaru. Do you think she's a lesbian?
Maybe some sort of a family. I don't know. We're not.
Something happened.
Something's going on
Very
with
busy.
her. Yes, very busy, but it's all good. We've all managed to make it, and one's on the way. So, whoo, very exciting.
One's on the way. And I found the direct link to Q Talk America chat, so I'm very excited.
Oh, well, good, because I thought I'd given it to you multiple times before.
Oh, it turns out it's just on here. Once you go to the site enough times, it finally says,
oh, it says, oh,
here's a page you might like, fucktard.
You've been here before.
Hey, dumbass, go here.
Yeah.
Look, I got a new koozie.
Well,
Isn't it cute?
So let's see how that works out.
And it's belted for her pleasure.
Yes.
Oh, it is. Look at
And
that.
ribbed at the top for her pleasure,
Well,
too, I'm assuming.
What's
Or
the little?
something.
Oh, you're ringing the bell every time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's got a little skirty thing out.
Yeah,
No,
but I tried this on Thanksgiving. Well, the day after Thanksgiving.
You tried it on
a
what?
thing- On a beer.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've seen her before. Yeah.
But it kind of.
Yeah, that would annoy the hell out of me. I know.
I'll figure it out.
I'm sure you will.
Because I think the little pom-pom's cute. Of course I do.
Of course you do.
Of course I
Now,
do.
what I am surprised that you haven't somehow figured out how to make that be part of the Vikings in some way.
Well,
Or
I
is
didn't
Santa
find
indeed a Viking?
Well, Santa created the Vikings
Oh, he did.
as a cruel fucking joke instead of Cole.
Oh.
That's all.
We'll give you the Vikings in lieu of coal, because coal is a natural resource.
It's really, and they're not. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Fuck you,
lovely.
Santa.
Wow. That took a turn.
Off and running!
I didn't realize
We
we
didn't
were
have
mad at
Rudolph.
the
We didn't
gentleman.
have Rudolph on Sunday when they were in a snowstorm from hell.
So they
playing-
couldn't see the end zone? I don't know what.
Actually, it was really interesting. But we played in Baltimore, and truly, I don't know if you saw any of
I
the
did not.
clips. It was like everyone kept referring to perhaps take us back to a day when we were younger, and there was like snow on the TV,
Right.
where it was just bad reception.
Okay.
That's how it looked.
Oh, so even the HD picture coming to us now in 2013.
Now, which game was this?
The Vikings Ravens.
Oh,
it
yes,
was out
yes,
in
yes.
Baltimore. It was crazy.
And there was one
Pittsburgh
like
was the same.
Yeah, there was one
Similar.
like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that was like, why are you playing? No, they actually stopped, didn't they? Didn't they have
There
to
was
stop?
one in Chicago, but that was because of tornado.
Yeah, the tornado.
Oh, that could be bad.
Yeah. No, this was.
It makes the passing very difficult.
There was like a Zamboni.
Where's it going? Where's it going?
It's a Zamboni.
Well, the good news is for the Vikings, they were in white, and the other team had to be in a darker color, so at least they had a better chance of knowing who to throw it to.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
You know.
That is
Like,
funny.
I'll throw it away from the person that I can see. I don't know.
I was going to say
which-
throw to the white guy, but I realized that's going to be completely wrong. That's not going to work.
So, yeah. But it was
But
just,
give
it
it
was
a
called
try.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was called the Snowball. So it was very and in the last 2 minutes, I believe, little over 2 minutes, 5 touchdowns.
Oh.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Even
back and forth.
I know that's a lot.
That's a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns, something like that. Yeah, it was crazy. We're
For the other team?
Nope.
Oh,
no,
for your team.
Back and forth. Back
Oh,
and forth.
But the Vikings
Collective.
lost, didn't they?
We did. With
Yeah.
4 seconds left, they got a touchdown. So we just didn't have enough time to get it back down the field.
Well.
You get one more in.
One more.
Wow.
But we were
have been a
we're
stressful-
still cheering. We're cheering. We're like, oh my God, that's so fun. Did they just? Yep. They
Yeah.
just scored.
Now,
Yeah.
did you want? I know.
I can't quite see.
Yeah. Wait. Could someone clear the screen?
Now I know how you watch football because of your schedule in life. You often DVR the game. You go social media silent, or as I'll call it,
That's right.
radio silence.
Yeah.
Radio silence.
And then you watch later. Did you watch that one later or
A
live?
little later. Yeah.
And there's so
That
many
was a- that
commercials,
was-
and seriously,
yeah.
the last quarter can take a full hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's 15 minutes, but 15 minutes of entertainment spread out over one glorious hour.
Oh, I remember that when I was younger because I was like, oh, God, there's like 7 minutes left in the game and then something better's up.
4 days later.
Exactly. God damn it. I hope they haven't aired that show on another channel.
Or the one that went into overtime, the Patriots
Jesus.
game on Monday night.
yes.
And I'm like, all right, come on, people. I
Really?
have places to be.
Right.
I
Well,
have places to be.
So I just put it on the TV, hit record, and
Yeah.
then I just watch like a half an hour program. Because usually, if you watch a 40-minute drama without commercials and then go back, you're golden to like get through everything.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Because you do
big
want to watch
fine
some of the
them.
replays or some stuff you want to watch, some catches that you're like, well, let's watch it a couple.
Well,
more
and the
times.
first quarter for that game, the Vikes-Ravens game, honest to Jesus, I thought was a day and a half. Because there would be something and
Been sitting there a long
there
time.
would the refs would blow the whistle because everyone was like slipping all over and hitting people and have you seen in hockey the Zamboni that goes around and makes the ice pretty?
It's a toy. I
love
mean, it's like a
it.
big
I know,
tractor
right?
type thing. So I enjoy that. Yes.
Fantastic. They kind of had one for the field.
Yeah, I heard. I actually,
And they almost ran over the Vikings.
Somebody. I heard that on the radio. Somebody said something about
I believe
that.
it's called a snowplow.
I believe it's called Almost Dead.
Now,
Yeah, the whole offensive line.
I do
Yeah.
realize that we don't
That's
know
awesome.
yet at this point who's going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But we know where it is. Where is it this year?
Oh, look at that. I'll Google that. I
Oh,
honestly
you don't know?
remember.
I don't even.
I just know
s-
we're not going, so I didn't pay any
I
attention.
assumed you knew that. I don't know.
I don't know why I think Florida.
That's the first thing that came to my mind was
Actually,
Florida.
yeah, I don't. It's almost no. I
Only
feel like
there
it's
was a
New York.
God,
I
do
feel
we
like
have a
it's New
device
York.
that we can look up stuff
I
on the
feel like
interwebs?
it's New York, and I feel like the reason that it's that is the big deal was made that it's going to be the first time it's going to be outside in a cold weather.
Oh, it's right because when they did it in Indianapolis,
Yeah,
It was
that-
inside.
they have a dome. Right.
I think
I think
it
it's
is
in.
outside.
I think it's in New York and or New Jersey or whatever.
Some new.
Yep, and not New
Further South Dakota,
not New Hampshire.
not New Mexico.
No. So, but
Or New River.
It's at MetLife Stadium.
In.
look at it. Like, I got nothing. I honestly,
Oh, East Rutherford, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
no.
I'm like,
Okay.
please tell me, because the MetLife
that-
building
that's-
is the building I like in New York, so please tell me that
Right.
MetLife
Okay.
continues to buy things in the New York
In the
area.
yeah,
area.
I think that,
So it's in
that
Jersey.
used to be the Meadowlands,
It
and
did.
then they redid
Oh.
the stadium, and now
You
it's.
just remind me of another story.
It's the
God,
Meadowlands
you're
Sport
reminding me of
Complex in
everything.
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yep. So it'll be very interesting, especially with the weather that they're
they're,
already having.
Yeah, and it's a bad weather. It's a bad weather time.
It is. So I mean, granted, that's 2 months away, but that's at the end of January
I
and
do know,
February.
the only thing that I knew
hated
about
that.
the Super Bowl that's coming up, and this will be really a shocker to you, I know who halftime is. I know that.
Oh,
What's
it's
his
Bruno
name?
Mars.
Is it a
Yeah.
planet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Bruno Mars.
Right.
You know where I'll be? Watching a football
That's
game.
right.
Well,
Halftime.
yeah, at least.
Halftime, right? Well, that'll be interesting for it to be outside like that. and to
Depending on who comes into the finals. Remember a couple years ago, we were at Plasma. You and your mom and Braun
Yep.
and my mom, we all were there.
Yep, and it
doing
was Cardinals.
So that was because it was the Cards. Depending on what happens this year, maybe it'd be fun to do another gathering for that.
Well, and
I
yet,
usually host at my home.
oh, do you?
It's my audition for the Oscars.
I love
Oh,
it.
I do
That's
remember
right.
that.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, please come over and enjoy.
Nice.
I'll host.
I love it.
As I recall, they're
love
on a
it.
Sunday. They do-
Yes,
Typically, it's Super Bowl
Super Bowl
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
They talked about Super Bowl Wednesday, but too many people had a hard time getting.
Yeah.
It'll be very
Big
interesting,
problems.
though, to see with the teams going, because obviously, if it would be the Ravens or the Patriots, or it's not going to be the Giants, that's for sure this year.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
No, or the
But
Jets.
at
Although
all.
the Jets might be.
It
There's
could be the Bills. Are they doing
no,
okay?
no.
I don't
they're
know.
the worst. They're the worst. But I think the wild card.
didn't know
The
that.
wild card. Oh
sound
no,
like
the
the
Bills
Vikings were the worst.
What?
They're similar.
I'll fight you for it.
We're all at Tampa Bay levels. Let's just say
That's
that.
a good call.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's a sports metaphor, ladies
I
and
liked
gentlemen.
it.
Oh, look at you.
But if you have someone that's out on the East Coast that plays outside and has that,
Right, and that's
you
what I was
know-
just gonna say. If you have one team, if you have
Who's
one
used to
team
cold
that's
and
used to
used to
outdoor
not.
games and one team that's used to indoor games, I think that'll be a blowout.
Well, and outdoor element games like that, because the Seahawks are the ones that are looking like they're probably going to do potentially do
Yeah.
real well and
with
go.
a really hot quarterback.
Yeah, the cutie.
And he'll be
Wait,
interviewed a lot.
You know who that is. We showed pictures in
That's
here.
the one that I had all over my Facebook page for a couple days. You were interested.
I'm pretty sure I remember
Yeah,
that.
you were okay with it.
Yes.
Russell Wilson.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But that'll be interesting because they play outside in Seattle. Different than playing outside in February
Right.
in New York, New Jersey area. That'll be interesting.
Again, something I don't pay attention to as much as I did when I was younger, but I seem to recall a lot of when I was younger. so many more football games were played outside. And I guess because over 30 years, I guess the more stadiums that are enclosed or domed are in place, because I really remember a lot of football games being played in the snow.
We used to go to the Vikes games in the
And
old
freeze
Met,
your
in the
ass
old
off.
Met
Buffalo,
Stadium.
Buffalo is not only is Buffalo outside, those dumbass motherfuckers built it in the southern tier, in the snow belt.
Oh.
Like literally, it's called the snow belt.
But isn't everywhere
so, you know
part
what
of the
they
snow
put
belt?
down there? You know what they put down there? Let's put the airport down there.
Oh, jeez.
And then let's put a football stadium and make everybody drive past the airport.
Yeah.
Oh no, because of the lake effect snow,
Right.
there's like a parallel line where like the snow is considerably worse below it and considerably better above it. Like Niagara Falls doesn't get very much snow. We're not known for our snowfall. We're known for like
Falls.
It's colder than a witch's fucking tit up there.
In a brass bra
In
in
a
the
brass
middle of
bra.
February.
I can't remember what Teddy used. Colder than Mitzi's ass up there. So, but it doesn't snow like it does in the South towns, and that's where they put the stadium. So not only do you have to go down there, but you go down to like big open farm field with like the winds.
The winds would be
through and the
crazy,
snow
sure.
coming. So there's a couple
Sure.
of Buffalo games that I've watched where you're like, are there people
Right.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're like,
that
Yeah,
could
you
seriously
can't.
be anybody? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That could be your Aunt Sally
you're
out
like,
there
look,
doing
there
a
it is. There she. I know her.
yeah.
No, you don't.
Playing with a
Dumbass.
baton.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a football game, maybe. I don't know.
And I was so little
Cold.
when we would go to the Met, because that was torn down. Oh hell, I don't remember, but I was young. And so you would go out there and you'd sit outside, and that, to me, as dumb as this sounds, I don't want to go sit in it. And I think it's because of the fans that's where they said, let's build a dome. And then all the boys became pansies. As far as I'm concerned, this
Yeah.
is just
No, boys,
yeah.
you mean the players.
the players.
Okay.
They just, all of a sudden they're like, oh, the elements.
Right.
It's just too cold.
Look who's here. Little Katie June is hustling in.
And then the best part is Buffalo is one of the Ralph Wilson Stadium
Okay.
is one of the biggest in the league.
Okay.
So those upper decks, that was what my family could afford back
Sure.
then. Those upper decks are even fucking colder because now we're gonna go south, sit in the wind, and then go way up
high.
to the top.
Right.
Yeah. And have vertigo.
A lot of suicides.
And I bet it's not slippery.
Because it's so the weather's
because
so
of the
cheery.
game, the end of the game, 9 out of 10
Oh, not
times.
well.
but-
No, it's the gloom and the doom.
That's
Not
right.
of the game, just of the day.
Well, and it's
gray
probably
again.
not slippery. I bet it wouldn't be.
Oh no,
Oh,
no.
no.
And then,
That
but they
ice?
didn't tell you. I have to tell you, I didn't remember it as a child because maybe I had like emotional scars from being there. But I went back in my 20s and started going with a friend of mine, and I would fly home for the last Bills home game. I would spend Christmas with my family and then go with her because her husband did not want to be in those elements. He was not okay with the last game of the home game of the season. Well, what they don't tell you is you're sitting on a metal bench,
Right.
and it's
Frozen.
solid.
Solid.
So that
Miserable.
cold goes straight up your asshole and up your spine, and then they sell you this little fucking piece of blown up plastic to put on top of it. Oh yeah, because those are known for their warmth.
Yeah.
I love to snuggle up on plastic on
Yeah.
a cold day.
So I'm so sorry. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Katie. Welcome.
I really
good to see
apologize
you.
to everyone in this room and everyone abroad in the ships at sea. I don't know if I missed this part, but the Eagles game
Yeah?
over this, there was like a giant winter storm. Did
Yeah.
you see what they were playing in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were.
I mean,
it's crazy. Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you
Yeah.
aren't even supposed to be outside in that, let
Right.
alone playing
Even
sports.
the post office
Yeah.
is like, maybe not
no,
today.
not today.
I was shocked. Downhill snow skiing, that's
you've,
about
you've
it.
really missed anything. Tonight it's been all sports Q Talk America. That's really what we started. It's been the winter wonderland of all of that.
Oh, that's good. Well, I have some good sports later.
And DC is shut down. That's
Yeah.
what kills me.
Oh, that's a
They shut down all federal
Okay.
buildings because DC.
And not a shutdown.
no right.
DC's
Weather.
in that weird region where it's not the north, it's not the south, it's not. They're just not anything. They
It's
just,
watching. They're gonna just cripple themselves for any reason. What in the
That's
fuck is? Oh, we have an
Congress.
HRC flag now.
Oh, I love it.
Is that a new addition to our studio? We
It
can leave it
is,
here.
it is indeed.
Oh well, look at that. We,
like it a lot.
Sponsored
we,
by HRC.
we have a
Oh.
flag.
I like it.
We used to not have a flag. Now we have one.
I was flying this weekend.
Oh,
And
not that's not a metaphor for something,
Yeah.
is it?
no, I was so
Nantucket?
high. I was in Nantucket.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
No,
right.
there was no flying there.
Yeah.
But coming home, it was, because it's like literally, it's, I want to say trains, planes, and automobiles, but it's actually boats, buses, and planes, and sometimes shuttles, and taxi cabs. So it was a real nightmare to get off the island. It was very, very stormy. And I thought the boat, like I was trying to reason with myself, going, this is a big, wide ferry. It's very, very wide.
You're looking
it's
right
very,
at me when
very
she says
low.
right, very.
No, come on.
I thought that too.
Totally was gonna just wait for a lull.
You know,
I
Al.
like
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
And
like
I
it.
thought there's no way this is going to be tossed over and it's like literally an hour ride. And
Oh my gosh.
From Nantucket to Hyannisport. And I thought the boat was going to tip over. I mean, there were times that I was looking at the water through the window next to me. It was very frightening. And it was all
luckily
kinds
there's
of
never any stories about ferries sinking.
No, never.
really scared. There were
Bless you.
people
Just
all over.
mostly it happens in Asia.
Jesus, there were people all
And one
over
time
the
in Staten
place.
Island.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Good. A little bit closer to where I was. There were people, everyone had barf bags. People, all the girls I was with were hungover. Surprisingly,
That's weird.
I was not,
Oh,
actually.
What a
What the heck?
shocking.
Who are you?
Praise Jesus.
She's a skilled drinker that doesn't get hungover.
you
She didn't
drinking-
say she wasn't drunk the night before.
she drank-
She said she didn't get
Oh,
a
and I
hangover.
was.
Did you
Yeah.
drink Top Shelf or something? That kind of
No.
usually helps those things.
No, I did not.
All right.
There's a whole
No.
lot more going on than just that.
No.
I think. No.
Harrison and I went on a cruise a few years back, and it was the day after a horrifying storm and blew through LA.
Yeah.
So we landed, and it was just settling down, but the ocean was still really choppy. And it was one of those cruises that goes like 5 feet from the shore. It goes just far enough to open the casino when you circle Catalina. And then you go down to like the bitter edge of Mexico, just to say that you've changed.
Been there.
been there.
Been
Right.
somewhere international.
Yeah.
You had to bring your passport.
It was a lovely cruise and a good time. But the first night at dinner, it was so choppy, and I stomach a steel. Like very rarely. Now it's some smell set me up, but very rarely do I get sick. And we're at a table, and we had made some friends, and we're talking with people, and the boat was rocking, and we were going up and down at dinner. And the other thing besides smells that gets me is if you start to look nauseous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I just get it. And the
Sympathy
woman I was
vomit.
sitting across from went green. Then she went white. Then she went a couple different colors. And then she started the. And all of a sudden, I started to feel. I'm like, I'm sorry, dear. I'm like, you're a lovely dining companion, but we're gonna all do 1/4 turn because
Yeah.
I
Do
can't.
the
I
right
can't
and
watch
go.
you go through this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
She
happened.
threw up all over everything, but I then it was done.
They were bringing around. One of the captains was taking around barf bags, and this woman, like directly in my view.
Shouldn't the captain have been running the goddamn ferry?
He may have just been a crew member, a seaman, perhaps.
seaman.
That went,
Well, semen went everywhere.
That went terribly wrong in Italy about 2 years ago. With
It
a
did.
big boat.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. But this woman did that. She was like getting a little grayish maybe, and then she was legitimately green, and then she started actually barfing into the bag, and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to go to the bathroom. This is like, I get it.
Excuse yourself, please.
You're
Thank
already
you.
Right.
throwing up now.
Yeah.
You're not just trying to hold it in. Like, get out of our way.
Yeah,
It was bad.
and I don't know if I just have inner ear balance or my ears are so plugged that I just don't get that disequilibrium or whatever it's called
I do.
at all. Like it doesn't
For
nothing.
some reason, I want to get your ears cleaned for some reason all of a sudden. I don't know why that is.
Just so I vomit more.
No, I just think
No, I
maybe
get
you're
them
missing.
cleaned out all
you're-
the time.
Fancy
you're-
though
okay, got
that
it.
you actually bought us ear cleaners.
That's right.
So you could go
Well,
home.
but
Doesn't
that
work.
was the
Doesn't-
world's shittiest. Those goddamn
Them
goggles.
glasses, yeah.
Those glasses.
The
are
best
still
part,
one of the
but the
funniest
best thing about the
things.
glasses,
Really
and I
good.
still laugh when I go back and I look at the pictures of us all wearing, and you two trying to play patty cake with the goggles on. That was funny shit.
And Harrison said it was the first time she ever saw someone turn green. Like it wasn't an exaggeration.
It actually
She
happened.
just went a color that a human should not go.
Should a little
She
bit
went-
like this. Or
She went
like
full on
that?
Grinch before Christmas.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
You're a
What
new one.
What if you don't like me? What if it's a cash bar?
Before,
I was watching that in the break room last night, and I have to tell you, I wait for that part of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, Jim Carrey. What if they don't like me? What if it's a cash
Oh,
bar?
I was picturing
And
that
I'm like,
other
cartoon.
Grinch.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm
and looking in that
animated.
show.
They
I
get me.
remember that.
They get me with the dachshund with the antlers every fucking time I laugh at
Max.
that.
I love that, yeah.
But that one is the. What if they don't like me? What if it's a cash bar?
I don't think I've actually
Like,
watched that
oh,
movie.
That's funny.
And it's
I know it's a shocker to all of you,
Yeah.
but they really hit the right balance of making
Yeah.
it appealing for children, but then throwing in some
Really
really good
adult
joke,
stuff.
real adult
And the crazy
stuff.
thing is the cute little blonde Susie Lou Who is or whatever her name
Cindy
is,
Lou.
Cindy Lou
Cindy
Who,
Lou Who.
was Taylor Momsen, who was super adorbs in that, and then she went on to that show, Gossip Girl, and now she's like a weird, drugged out, too much eyeliner, ugly rocker.
What is her name? Amanda Burns.
No, but
I mean
Taylor
similar-
Momford.
No, but I mean similar
Momsen.
to that kind of. Yeah, just goes
just
tragic.
like Yeah.
I like that you followed her
Cute
career.
little girl gone bad.
She's probably happy to know someone paid attention.
They're sad.
She's like, yay.
Before we get too much further into the show, I'd like to say hello to everybody listening right now on the audio-only podcast. We've got Europe, the U.S., Japan, Malaysia, some unknown country, and Israel is listening. So hello to everybody out there. If you want to join us, join us in the chat room, you can do that at Q Talk America /chat. There's a link right there at the top of the page on the little bar that says, well, chat now. Now, Katie, as we're catching up on what's been going on, now last week what were you doing? You were hiding drinking because you might have been pregnant. And this week,
Hey, honey, that's not true. He's lying.
oh no, actually, last week you were gone. 2 weeks
right.
ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I
last
was potentially pregnant.
Last week, Erin Henderson filled in for you. 2 weeks ago,
yeah.
you were potentially pregnant,
Yes.
which apparently not, because you're opening a full bottle of Apothic Red, whatever the fuck
here's
that is.
my this is like the $9.99 cheap bottle.
That's what
Aaron loves
It
it.
is
last week.
Ernie,
so
Oh.
delicious.
Ernie's all about
so
that.
here's our weekly
Got it. So now you just gonna drink
Wine.
that from the bottle? Because you gotta drink. Oh, there's your mug. Okay, got it.
from a coffee mug. I mean, I'm all high class.
And what is the green stuff?
As long as we're endorsing
Oh.
this.
Petit Chablis?
Man, I could talk into the mic and tell you what is it?
Domaine Chatelaine. It really is. It's fancy, but it's only $19.99 and it's delicious.
Can you actually bring me a wine glass?
Yes, I-
I'm running out of them. I didn't have to buy more. For Christmas, somebody's gonna buy me some new wine glasses.
This
What is that, Katie?
green Suja is my new juice.
God damn it!
Mixed with Apothic red wine.
Yes. Oh, you know
I
what?
have heard it goes right through you.
Green and red. I'm sure that's gonna be a pretty.
I'm doing nothing
Christmas, damn
but
it.
like drinking juice, and this is like
Green
a
and
form
red.
of juice.
That's a form of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Sell it however you want to sell it.
Yeah.
So this is delicious, though. You can find it at Whole Foods.
What is that? Oh,
Looks
Tyler's
like,
talking about
it looks
something.
vile.
I was
Yeah.
just so excited that there was a cornbread baking contest in Tyler's class.
4-H club.
I need that shipped to me immediately as your official tester. It is
Oh.
my favorite food group
Cornbread
Oh,
on earth.
is cornbread
and
a food group?
Snickerdoodles?
It is.
What about
Oh.
cornbred and Snickerdoodles?
Yeah.
Yeah. They go
Oh.
together lovingly. Both have butter. I think that
And,
was the key
and they're
element.
both baked good, so we're like that. That sounded wrong. Anyway,
Laura, are you listening?
yes, Laura, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that'll go over well.
Oh sure. Well, hey, I'm not getting rave reviews for my live singing, unlike people on NBC.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
It's coming back again
Poor
and again.
little
Oh, they
thing.
just announced today they're doing another one. They're going to
They're
do.
going to
That's
re-show
my
it.
entertainment
No,
news.
they're doing that. Well, he's got
Yeah.
the two. You heard that too.
Both of you are correct. No
There
need
we
to
go.
argue. You're both
little
absolutely
teasing,
correct.
little tease. We'll get to that. So, aside from a new juice and new
Yeah.
wine, and you made it back alive. So
There's
you're
new
good.
juice?
Well, this green shit she's got.
New juice.
Sunja.
New juice.
It's her new.
Suja,
It's her
my new
new
thing.
it's-
I drank the carrot orange today. I had another green for breakfast. I had a carrot orange for lunch, and then I had some kind of a
sensible
lemon.
dinner. God, what the hell is this, Jenny fucking Craig?
Ding. It's because I was like gluten free before I went on vacation, and then I couldn't help it. I just ate lots of bread
And then you were
beer.
gluten full during vacation.
So what is this? Just gluten
Juice
anti
cleanse, yeah.
venom? I don't know what that means.
Juice cleanse.
And I told you,
Okay, God.
The grapes of wrath.
a doctor I work with, a good friend of mine made. She made a kale.
Oh, I make it at home
salad
too.
Where she like rubbed it with oil all day and let it sit so it was actually chewable.
Yeah.
And then she put stuff on it and it was delicious.
Yeah, I really like kale salad.
and very cleansing, I have to tell you.
like grease through a Christmas turkey.
Oh my God, yeah.
Rain, hail, sleet, or snow.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That kale.
Oh, clean, sir, inside and out.
Yeah.
Woo.
So, but it was tasty going in and helpful going out. Like
It's really the
Wow.
it's just it's an
And this
all
is-
around kind of fruit.
And this is
vegetable.
just hour one so far.
Well
God
done.
damn.
Well done.
Oh, Marnie.
Yeah.
What's up with you?
Nothing.
Got a beer
I,
koozie. We got that. And you're.
Yeah, we got a new koozie.
Yeah, look at this.
Katie
we're
June.
Christmassy on that end.
Oh,
Isn't that
thank you for
cute?
that.
I know,
yes,
love that.
good. Festive.
I'm even wearing red. Hey.
I know, right?
My one red shirt. So
I
I
have,
guess
like,
we're.
the little
I guess
matching
You
we're
call
all
that
even.
red?
Yeah.
Call that
It's as red as you're gonna get out of
Okay,
me.
gotcha.
It's a burgundy. Yeah.
burgundy, yeah.
Marooner.
The gays will know.
Yeah, totally.
It's almost like a
They get
wine.
it.
It's a wine color.
Yeah. So it's burgundy.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
I had my holiday Christmas party, whatever, my Christmas party for work,
for work?
this weekend. Yep, and I run that and put that all together, and I'm start that like in September and get that all together for the
Are
company.
you kidding me? It took it takes since September to put together
Well,
a Christmas party.
getting the location and making
Oh,
sure that
I
you
guess
You
have
gotta
that.
plan in
I
advance.
guess you're right.
Yeah, because we have it at a park. and to accommodate,
And
we
what
usually have
beautiful,
about 100
beautiful
people.
weather.
Thank God. 2 years ago
Oh, it
when
was
we
hot,
did
wasn't
it. No. 2 years ago when we did it, it was 40-some degrees.
And
outside
raining, wasn't it?
and
Raining and raining. Yes,
Oh
yes, yes, yes.
my God, it was terrifying. Well,
Sounds horrible.
Last year was, I thought, fantastic. Other people, like my girlfriend, would argue too hot, but beautiful, I thought.
Oh, but she's hot at 50
she
degrees.
is. Yeah, exactly.
It was last year's Christmas
Last-
was very warm.
But,
was.
Gorgeous.
But you go through these things where it's like beautiful, beautiful weather, and then it's going to be my
is a
Christmas party, and all of a sudden it's going to be 51 and raining.
Even in Arizona, especially in Arizona, December, January is an iffy time.
It is. Oh, big time.
You don't know what the hell's going to happen because it could be 90 or
Right.
it could be 30.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so weird.
And the whole thing for December 7th was that it was supposed to beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You're watching the Weather Channel, not beautiful. Oh, kind of ugly. And it kept
Yeah.
going, and then I just that night I'm like, Mother Nature, you cunt. I pick up litter.
Damn for you, damn it.
The things I
don't
do.
litter. I'm trying to come up with an idea to get litter
Convince people
picked
not
up.
to use the
Otherwise-
R word.
Oh,
I'm a
my
good
goodness.
person.
She does try.
Sons
She
of
does
bitches.
fail, but
does.
she tries.
She fails.
Fail, big time. But yeah, so I was like, please. And when I woke up
that's good.
on Saturday morning, I was
Birds were
pleasantly
singing.
surprised, and it was it turned out to be a real beautiful day. And so we did that, and it was real fun. We had we're at a park in Scottsdale, so El Dorado Park, really beautiful.
I know the part.
So we just do that, and next
Oh, I love
year,
El Dorado Park. Yeah, I'm familiar.
next year, I'm already coming up with different ideas. So I'm
you're
I'm
already
excited.
on next year?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, that's good.
I'm
For the
very
love.
very excited.
All right.
So yeah, I've been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years.
I do recall you doing that, but I didn't realize it was always a Christmas thing because don't you do a couple of those a year?
It depends on if they need something, but otherwise, mainly it's the holiday party.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So other than that, that was my whole kind of focus for the week.
That and payroll.
'Tis the
Well,
season.
Yeah.
True statement.
It's always.
But I made sure the payroll was done. We got paid on Friday.
Because you can't have people at a party that you can't
We
party if
have
they don't
one
get paid.
year, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but other than that, it was a really good week and just kind of relaxed and getting everything transitioned for Christmas, which I just didn't have time to do before from Thanksgiving. So, taking turkey I love those
decor.
clings and decor.
I was
That's
like,
right.
how does one actually transition from
Transition,
one
right.
to the
Yeah,
other? Is it just more elastic pants? I'm confused.
No, the lights that surround her front yard, they go from, which I'm going to assume are green, or excuse me, orange and
Yellow.
Orange and yellow for Thanksgiving.
They're orange, yellow, and purple for Halloween.
And
Well,
do different-
black, but
Wait,
yeah.
you do lights around your house?
yeah.
Well, no,
Well,
what
that is what I need to
I
do.
have lantern things. I have 7 lanterns
Okay.
that go around the front.
they're built into the fence.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so I just change out the bulbs for that, and so for Christmas,
you,
for Valentine's Day,
festive.
I thought for Martin Luther King Day I shouldn't put all black ones in.
Well, no, we drink
Definitely
Cordon,
racist.
We drink Cordon Negro.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly,
It's a champagne.
exactly. It is. And
Okay.
I have El Negro, but other than that, yeah,
That is my tradition.
I
all the
definitely
holidays.
believe you. Yeah.
All the holidays. So I have that.
Fun, Mark.
And I love those clings that go. I'm stupid about those that go in the window. I just
Yeah.
love those.
Oh.
So I need to take my turkeys down and put up my Santas.
Yeah, we like
And
the
my little
clings,
elves.
too.
I got new little elves. That
Oh,
work
that's
too.
cute.
Wow.
I get stupidly happy about that kind of shit.
I
and
can
I figure,
tell.
why not?
Now I'm
It's
sure,
fun. It's
and you've
stupid.
seen as you arrived. I'm done. You got, we're on.
I know it.
Mom's lights are up. I'm done. We're good.
Well, and Erin has her lights up. I thought she did a fantastic job.
Oh, her post was hysterical.
Oh, I
When
didn't
she wrote on
see it.
Facebook, and I wish I could remember it exactly.
A
But she's
Charlie
like,
Brown-
a Charlie Brown Christmas. This is the first time in my life I've put up lights as an adult by
Yeah.
myself. Look
Yeah.
at me,
Oh,
Mom.
wow.
And it was really cute.
It
'cause I
just
went-
made me love her so much.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just put on there I like you more now than ever. But I didn't know how to make it not sound condescending.
Like
in
you didn't
a-
like her last week?
right?
I've been
So
on
I
the fence about you for the longest time.
no, you filled in for me last week, bitch.
that post. I literally wrote and rewrote and wrote, and then I was just like, "You're cute."
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was great.
It was-
I
it was
love
so
Erin.
fun.
I
Girl.
love Erin
because she has them up there, and it's very because of our, and we've talked about this before, how different we are within our relationship
Yes,
and just
yes,
as
yes.
people, where I close a drawer. She finds it more acceptable to leave it open because she's gonna need something out of it, I'm sure.
later at some
later
point.
on, some point, and so those things just don't quite close, or just very different things like that. And I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah,
And
OCD.
What?
Yeah.
And so, I take as far as the lights, and I would have just probably done them a little differently. But it's so her and so adorable the way that it is that I'm like, how do you don't change that really? Because it's kind of hanging
they're just
here,
kinda going all over.
and then it kind of goes down here, and then it's just hanging off the side of the house. Just
Here's what I don't understand. See this picture with the
it.
colored Christmas lights around
Yeah.
the headboard? Really? That explains a lot about your relationship, I think, right there.
why?
Well, I hope that.
What do you
gives
mean the
We're just
headboard?
welcoming the rabbit.
That's
We're
her-
welcoming the Christmas
that's her
rabbit.
garage.
That's the garage and a car.
The headboard.
Does that
I-
not look
I
at that?
went with it.
It
Yes.
does from
I
here.
went
I was
with
like,
it.
what? Yeah.
I
I'm
thought it was
sorry.
a garage, but you said a
That's
headboard, and
the
I
top
thought,
of the
okay.
car, and that's the archway of her garage.
says a lot
It
about our
looks
relationship.
doesn't look like a headboard.
I'm gonna
We are
have to
putting on
say.
a show.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that one.
Wow.
But nope.
I thought we were
that's
just
not it.
welcoming the rabbit.
Here comes
Merry
Peter
Christmas.
Cottontail running down the bunny trail.
Yeah, there's your
Fuck
trail.
that.
Wow. Well, that's our first technical, I think, of the night, right there.
I'll drink.
I'll drink to that. We don't drink to technicals
I'll
much
drink
anymore.
to that.
Cheers.
Alfie?
Well, I'll just catch up from last week's story quickly.
Now,
All
wait a
is-
minute. She doesn't know anything about last week's story.
Oh,
don't.
We'll
No.
steamroller over you.
We'll catch her up later.
Just you'll kind of catch on as we go along.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
So
I'm
all
in.
is
It's a
well.
lot.
Locked in.
Sisters, neighbors, all on board. Stories all told. Everything.
Flooding in, news stories?
One or two news stories.
Okay.
Nothing terribly ground shaking, but everything's printed up, ready to go. I fill out the paperwork tomorrow, get it notarized, and send it away, and the journey begins. But everything.
Oh my God, are you adopting?
No.
But very close.
Kind of. You're on the right path.
The reverse of that.
You're getting adopted. You already have been adopted.
I already have. I
I just realized that as I said it out loud.
I started last week looking for my birth parents.
Yeah.
At 40, he's
Yeah.
getting adopted.
Well, I said my actual
go.
year of birth so many fucking times last night.
Oh, is that weird for you?
Anybody with an abacus could have figured that shit out.
Alfred T. Perkins.
Yeah. So very
Exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Traumatic at first, but we got over that part very quickly. Talked to all the major players. Everyone's on board. My
Parent,
brother-
like for your family. And
yeah, my brother-in-law
Right.
was a big help and
Good.
broke the news to everybody. Everybody shared what they knew. Questions were asked, and there was really not much more that hadn't been shared. But luckily, everyone in my family drinks, so they didn't realize that we talked about this a few times.
Good.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're,
They were
so
like,
you're adding up
I
things.
have to tell you this story. I'm like,
Yeah,
I know. We've
that.
already had that conversation.
Oh.
I have to. Yeah,
I'm actually a little bit surprised you remembered those
Yeah.
conversations. So
Well,
that's
because
good.
I don't black out very often. So
Okay,
that's
well.
that's the good news. Is I have the
Brother and
horror
sister
of
is
remembering
blacking
them.
out.
Yeah, I have the horror of remembering the terrible things I
Yeah,
said.
right?
I don't get the
Or they're
joy of-
recorded on the show and they're
Yeah,
available
right.
for download at any time.
That's terrifying. Trust me.
So it's all on it happens, tomorrow we do the paperwork, got it all the 19,000 pages, and
It's like buying a house.
it
sounds
is
like.
kind of, yeah.
And
so,
what's the first step? Paperwork submitted, but then what are you waiting
then
for
I
next?
hired a
And-
private investigator, and they do their part. I send them all the paperwork. But the one little thing that I had brought up last week about there being maybe something hidden in a safety deposit
A
box
file
in case
somewhere.
there's a listener who's also adopted. Turns out in a closed adoption, that's exactly what's sealed and closed, is that you don't get the court papers. They took them back and sealed them. What I got was a birth certificate in 1969 and a social security number, and that was what you needed in 1969 to become that person. You don't get it. That's your receipt.
Yeah.
So
Please
And
don't
that's-
let the door hit you
that's
in
what
the
I
ass.
kept joking
Yeah.
about last week. I'm like, did no one get a receipt for this transaction? But it turns
Yeah.
out this will double as your receipt, is what it should say, parenthetically on the bottom of my birth certificate.
Yeah, this is
artist
customer's
form-
copy.
This also, yeah, a customer
Customer's
copy.
So
The merchant copy has been sealed.
So, okay, and I'm going to ask, and I don't want to like dwell on what you guys talked about last week, but I know you've said this before, but were you adopted from birth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so your parents were in the hospital getting you, collecting your things.
Oh, and there was a whole fun thing about how you steal a baby, and it really was a hijacking.
The charming story, and if you could give her the Reader's Digest version of that, the whole thing about
my mom
grandfather
delivered me.
thing.
Yeah, my mom delivered me. And then here's the little update that the doctor, it turns out, the doctor that delivered me, that was part of the process, was also, everyone knew that the adoption had fallen through. The original adoption had fallen through. So it turns out it was the doctor that was really trying to steal me from the hospital. But his part of it, I guess, was going to be more of a journey or something was wrong. But it was his idea that this woman was coming in, the adoption had fallen through while she was in labor. He learned about it, and that's how the story started, for someone to take the baby home, and got passed to my mother. And
Ruthie.
Right. And the other nurse on shift that night said, and if you can see it, it's because my ears go against the back of my head. But
Yeah.
the other nurse said to my mom, "Oh, you should take that baby home. His ears lay back. That's a nice thing."
Oh my
Never
gosh.
heard that.
So, and it was...
Yeah. I can
That
fly.
tells you a lot.
So isn't that a funny thing?
Yes.
Like, there's so many little funny
Of like the
things
way
of,
that your
like-
life turned out.
Yeah, but completely nothing planned, everything just sheer coincidence.
Well,
Just fell into
part
place.
of the story is Ruthie comes home from work and tells the story. And
so she
yes.
calls and says, and my grandfather lived with us at the time, her father, and he's drinking with my father at the table, and she says, "Oh, there's a baby here at the hospital," and everyone's saying I should take it home. Hangs up the phone. My father tells my grandfather, and my grandfather was like, "You don't know what you're fucking doing. You don't have any room for a baby. You both work. Where are you going
Right.
to put it? There's no room in this house." And my dad was so mad that the next morning he told my mother, "Bring that goddamn baby home just to piss the old man off."
I love that part of it.
That's what I mean. There's no charming, sweet, like Hallmark moments.
Right.
This would be a hard R movie.
There's drinking,
was
there's cussing, there's probably some nudity
right.
somewhere in there.
And then a little fear that I had was alleviated through the course of the week, as the one story that I didn't know was, I guess whoever it is that actually is my father wanted money for me. So that's why there was kind of a baby abduction in the story. So there isn't a terrible story where
good.
I was worried that there was some horrible story of how my mother got pregnant with
Right.
me, but it turns out they all knew each other, and
Okay.
he knew there was a baby and wanted money, and that's why they had to abduct me. And
So-
that's why I came home from the hospital so fast.
Why would he want money?
Yeah.
Money for what?
because he was like, give me money for that
pay for
baby.
the
Yeah, pay for the
adoption?
baby. Have you not
Whatever.
met Madonna?
No.
How do you
no.
think she gets those kids?
Well, no. I understand that, but I mean, what else was he going to put you at the time? Craigslist wasn't around. Was he going to hawk you some way?
Yeah, so because he knew.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people
'Cause there-
that'll
there's
pay
a market.
really good
Good
money.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay,
yeah.
I
So
was.
he
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
he wasn't giving this up without cash.
Got
and
it.
So-
that's where the baby abduction part in. But I'll share another week.
I
The
love
baby
it.
abduction
Which
part
is
is
really
funny.
interesting. And so you know all these things. So you obviously look at Ruthie, and forgive me that I can't recall your father's name.
Al.
Al. Oh, that
We'll
makes
make it
sense.
easy.
Good sense. I drink Ruthie's drink. That's how I remember her.
Yeah.
So Ruthie and Al, they're your parents. They,
Yeah.
were obviously raised you. They're your parents. You're calling this other woman mother, birth mother.
Yeah, well,
or are you just kind of associating because she's your birth mother,
Yeah,
so she's mother?
we'll just see how it
pans out.
it plays out. So we don't know.
Wow.
So
I
we
didn't-
I
She
have
just
a-
may be Becky when this is all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for you, Al.
So
It's
we'll see
It's
how
very
it
cool.
goes.
I'm
Yeah.
very glad to hear that update because I was going to ask
Yeah.
you, but I didn't know exactly how to approach
Yeah.
it.
I just
'Cause-
like feel giddy.
And
for
that's,
you.
there was a lot of tears the first couple days, and as I talked to everyone,
Had you
and-
wanted to do it for a while?
Yeah, and I got up the courage, and you really just have to like break down that barrier. And I wanted everybody on the same page on day one, so we could all go forward together. No dropping bombs, as
Right.
Liza says.
Yeah.
Don't drop bombs. So, it went smoothly. It took a few days for everyone to like fess up and get on the right page. But there's very comforting texts and emails from the whole family, and
That's fantastic.
everyone was on board. Everyone thought they had everyone had one thing they thought was a deep dark secret, but my mom had already told me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, "Why the
'Cause
fuck are you
Ruthie
making
drank.
a big deal about this if you had already talked to her?" And I'm like, I just assumed because she was so close. Like this was a very stout German woman who
Yeah.
was not giving up information that did not need to be given out. So I just assumed that someone would know something else.
Yeah.
And there was only a few details that hadn't been shared.
Yeah. Cool.
So it was good.
Really
So,
cool.
Yeah. So
And
it was neat.
That's very. I'm actually thrilled with that. I think we should kind of chart your progress as this all
Yeah,
goes
so
along.
I'll keep everybody up to date. And if you know somebody that's in this situation, that's gave up a baby or was a baby, it's interesting. Just don't go to adopted.com until you are emotionally ready. I would suggest therapy first.
I
Or
did find
after.
out just by reading something. Most of the people who listen to us at one time were a baby.
Yeah. Statistically.
Yes, not all. Most.
There's a new show on MTV.
Yeah, parenthetically most.
Parenthetically, I love parenthetically.
There's a new show on MTV that is charting sperm donors. It's like some new, reality show. It's almost a little bit too much for me to watch because it's so close to home, and it's these kids that are teenagers that are looking for their sperm donor, and it's making me a little Palmer's, our sperm donor is open. So when she turns 18, she has access to his information.
Right.
And he's contractually obligated to keep it up to date. It was as a part of his contract with the sperm bank. He is not obligated to talk to her ever, or she can call him and he could never respond. He could never,
Right.
But she can at least make that attempt.
And that's a newer update from the whole like keep everybody in the dark.
Right. Yeah.
But as we're learning through Oprah and Phil Donahue and all these shows, we're just starting to learn what the ramifications are. Right. We're not just starting, but I think we're a few years into finding out there's some hardships with this. Mm-hmm. Closed might be the way to go, but it also you can't make that decision for someone until they're 18. So
that's
the great
why
thing is say wait till you're an adult, do this.
That's
know
why
that the information might be out there.
Got the donor. We actually we sought out a donor this first donor was not open, and then I think we've talked about this before. We watched The Kids Are All Right, and we took it totally from a different. Lady took it from the perspective of like our children might want to know who their donor dad, their biological sperm donor is at some point, but it's all good in theory, and I am happy that we went that route, and I'm happy that Palmer will have that. But to watch this show on MTV of actual lesbian couples' children who are in search of their donor dad is a little. It's emotional for
very
me.
close to home.
And I really was surprised as soon as I opened the door and like just opened it up and said I'm thinking about it. It was waterworks. And then I went to that website and I read those stories, and I was telling them last week I was ready to write everyone back and say I was their child. Like just tell me what date of birth you want me to be, because let me just help you heal. Like even if a lie
so
makes
adoption.com is parents searching
adopted.com is both, but because I'm not looking for a baby, so I didn't read
right.
I didn't read any stories of children looking for their parents, which probably would have been just as horrifying. But parents and siblings looking for their families was rough going.
Intense.
That was some rough going. We needed some edibles on that one.
Yeah.
Now, switching gears and keeping with you. Now, I need to know what's the backstory about this fucking pin.
Oh, well, there's never any pens at work. Never. We're
and by the
always
way, what
hunting
else
for
holding
pens.
is a
big 4-color pen.
Big 4-color pen.
And my mom always had this in her purse, and she was always prepared at a moment's notice, because my mom and both my sisters carry purses the size of luggage.
Okay.
Because they have, and that's why I always ask people at work, I'm like, you're a mom. I need Advil. I need a tampon.
Lotion.
I need lotion. I need
gum.
a map.
It's all in your purse.
A guided tour book of Rome.
I actually have that at San Francisco.
Yeah, it's so much. Let's make
Often
a deal.
in the purse,
and
yeah.
you know when you see a mom walk in, you are not going to have dry skin or a headache, because they have these cures available.
Dry skin or headache.
So I always laugh that I never have a pen at work. I'm always like writing stuff in blood, and I'm always like, who do I got to fuck around here to get a pen? So they've made a big production of like bringing me a pen every day at work to be like, please stop with the saying that we don't have enough money for pens, because now people are taking it seriously.
Now you're telling our patients.
Yeah, now they think they're in a poor hospital. So it's just funny that I guess we're just giving it all up now. So I always wanted one of these, and someone had one the other day, and I was like, ooh.
Oh.
I was covetous. I was like, oh, I want one of those.
Yeah,
and they're like,
time.
they sell them at stores, right? Like, there's no reason to sit here salivating over my pen.
Right.
So I wandered into what used to be a Smitty's Big Town. What did those Smitty stores used to be called? Remember Smitty's when there was Smitty's and then there was
Smitty's and Smith's. But
No,
that's
they were
all I knew
Smitty's.
it as.
They were Smitty's, and they were the size of a very large village.
I don't
John
know.
McCain probably wants to invade one. Well, anyways, the biggest one was at Tatum and Shea, and they turned it into a
Fry's Marketplace.
Which are also massive.
Right, but it's the exact same store. They just changed the name.
Change the name, right.
I can't believe they sell patio furniture, electronics, wine, and
And
roses.
when Smitty's
It's
was in
weird.
town, and I can't remember, they were called like Smitty's Big Town, and that just meant that you not only could grocery shop, but you could also
Furnish your home.
Right, exactly. Get pregnant.
patio.
They sell pillows.
Oh.
And linens right next to the Kellogg cereals.
Okay.
So I was maybe buzzed. I can't remember what I was coming back from, but I might have had a small buzz from something. And
As you're holding your hands like this.
just wandered the aisles of that store, and I was just delighted. I sat in the patio furniture. I looked around. I brought glasses over to see how they looked.
You're leisurely shopping.
And then I asked him, I'm like, what time do you close? And the guy's like,
We never.
midnight?
Oh.
So it was like 9 o'clock, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to be here a while. And so then I was in the pen aisle, and I was so buzzed, and I'm like, oh, I love all the pens. I'm like, oh, a 4-color stuff. I bought candles. I bought pens. I think I got a gallon of milk. But mostly, it was just insane. Me, who hates to shop, was just
A fruitful
delighted.
trip.
Oh, I was moving furniture in the patio part. Like, well, maybe with this ottoman. And the guy's like, oh, do you like the patio furniture? No, I don't want it at all. I just wanted to see how I'd feel.
I just want to play here.
if I moved into your small town.
Because you've got everything I need.
So then I laughed because the next day I showed up at work and I'm like, don't fuck with me. I've got a 4-color pen.
I do. Those are some really great old school pens.
Practically a cape.
Well, so I saw him make that post, and it's something about $16
Oh,
for
I
this
know. They
fucking
said it was
pen.
like $16 for a pen.
No.
It was $2.19
Yes,
or
it's-
something on
right.
on
So-
sale with my fries.
Felt like $16.
I had that pin laying in because I don't throw anything away, or mostly, and that was in a separate pin section that I have of my desk. And I'm like, well, I've got one, so now Al has a 4-color pin for the studio because I want to make sure that he's adequately prepared.
And it's also fun, and I didn't realize like the nervous tick that I have that I love
doing
to
that?
play with the buttons.
And those actually remind me of my grandfather, who had like a little home office in his house. I don't know what he actually ever did there, but it was like a little office, and those were the pens.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the eureka moment that will probably happen. I'm going to go, I want to write that in green.
Well, don't you, at the restaurant, do you not chart in different colors?
Right, but it's mostly black or dark blue because I prefer dark blue
See,
to black. 'Cause
red
it's prettier.
now is the
But
teacher
red
color of
But
choice.
red is where you write down something important that you
Emergencies.
should probably know or be able to see from a great distance. So that's what I said. So I know when I'm going to write. Dark blue is my favorite color of all to write in. And I know when to go to red. So like I said, I'm just waiting,
You're waiting
for the thing
for the
that says,
time.
"But write it in green, please."
But you post that on Facebook so the world will know.
I will let you know when it happens.
And if you can, maybe make a copy and show us the example of what
the
that
example
moment
of what was
God,
green appropriate.
That would be very nice for us to know. I like to be in the know of when urgency is whatever the fuck.
So Clayton McKee,
Well, I made it-
recently in the 702.
I
what'd you
made
do?
a very quick impromptu journey just yesterday. You all know that Charlie's every year does that god awful snow inside the building every year that winds up in everything.
Oh, everything.
Winter clothing.
You
your
drove that
car.
trip?
Well, let me tell the story.
All right,
Can
all
I? You had your 37 minutes to talk.
I know.
So the snow winds up in your shoes and all your winter clothing, in your hair, in your car. It's in your house. It's in undergarments. It's everywhere, forever. From like now till like
Late June.
June, exactly is what I'm gonna say. Well, that stuff is styrofoam, and it comes from a factory in Las Vegas, which actually makes a lot of different things out of styrofoam. So it literally it's the pebble of the styrofoam. They're all the little pebble beads, so that's what it is. So they used to be able to get it here locally, but they no longer can. It's all out of Vegas. So what they do, and for years I've done this, they go up there for the Charlie's Vegas anniversary party, and then one of the side effects of that is somebody brings back the snow. Well, I don't really give a shit about going to the party, but they wanted me to do it because they trust me to drive the truck more than anybody else. So last minute asked me, would you? And I said yes, because it was like, but this shit has to be planned. I get there, I get the truck, I load the truck, and I drive back. Boom, 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 because I had today for the show. And that's what it went. So I woke up this morning at the Orleans Hotel in Vegas, and
nice.
I already had the truck loaded up. Boom, Barbara Seville was with me. Came back, drove back today. Boom. So I was back here at 4:15 today.
That's some shaky
Wow.
weather because the mountains in.
Not the only thing that we ran into at all was snow and ice falling off of other vehicles from other states.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, because-
Nothing. No, I mean, in Vegas when we left, there were the mountains that are north of Vegas. You
Yeah.
can see at the very top. There's a little, but other than that, not one thing on any road
Because
anywhere.
one of the worst accidents today was in North Nevada. And they were saying the high elevations of Nevada was getting. I mean,
And that weird, I don't know why they're a weird family, but that family disappeared.
But they found him today.
They did.
Oh,
They
are they
found them
alive?
today.
All of them perfectly fine.
And like
good.
no frostbite.
No,
they
they
were
built
trapped
like
in their
a-
car and they built a fire. I don't know if the fire was in the car.
I don't know about that, but some snow fort they built and stayed warm for 4 days.
yeah,
and
they're
perfectly
like
fine.
warm. They're like not cold. I mean, I'm
and
sure
the-
they're cold.
Well, the one, the
They're
one
safe.
thing that I read, and I had forgot because I haven't lived in that weather for so long. But the one thing they were saying was, in case of emergency, and my family always did it, and I was, I can't, I'm not that organized, but they would always say, like, make sure your car never gets below a half a tank of gas. Like, don't even chance it in the winter,
Right.
Because you could end up
Stuck somewhere.
in your car without a way to get out, and the car is your source. It has a heater, it has an engine, like it's your hope.
Right.
Like, so
Yeah.
make sure that your hope has gas to keep it hopeful. Like,
No,
and
that's right.
And I read that last night about them missing, and they were saying that they were hoping that wherever
And they were
they
smart
could get
and
access to
prepared.
their car, and they were able to stay warm until they could be found. So that's good news to hear.
I
Yeah.
fell off of like a little snowbanky area in Snowbowl when I was up there sledding with some friends when I was in college, and it was frightening. I had a big Bronco, and I was turning the corner, and we just into snow, and fortunately we had cell phones, and another friend of ours had a big giant Bronco with a crank and a crane thing on it.
Well, that's
It's called,
good
it's,
friend
called,
to
it's
have.
called a winch.
Yeah,
Thank
winch.
you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Yes.
Oh,
Calling
crane
KJ
thing. Yeah,
names.
you got it.
I know.
So he had a wench.
Rude.
I'm a wide fairy. She's a wench. This is just not going well.
I know. He
Watch
had a
it,
wench.
people. Just watch
We
it.
had some joints, so it was all good. We called our friend. I apparently had enough gas. We sat in the car, smoked joints. He came and bailed us out.
Okay.
All's well.
Not totally sure who drove home.
Well-
Probably wasn't me, but
Or you may have wound up at a Fry's
We may-
marketplace running around looking at stuff.
we made it.
And then the only other thing, and Marnie, you said, remember earlier I said I was going to make a comment in regards to the drifters?
Right.
Well, because you asked for a coaster for our lovely our accommodations. Well, last Sunday I found myself in the middle of a conversation, and I know we've all had this conversation with the youngsters in the world. I stopped by Stacy's to fix something, and I just happened to be hanging around for a while, and they were playing whatever Pandora was, but it was an older music station. So, we were getting a lot of the late 60s into the 70s, and this one guy at the table knew every single song, and I was like, okay, it's odd that somebody your age knows these songs as well as you do. And so I asked why, and apparently his parents, he grew up, they did a lot of road trips, the parents played all the music, and that was his, as he grew up, so he really liked it. So one of the guys at the table, who is a friend, and he's a lovely guy, but I just didn't realize how sheltered some of them are musically with things. So he made some comment in regards to something, and the guy said, well, do you know who this song is by? And he's like, well, no, I really don't. And the guy said, well, I'll give you a hint. They're drifters. And he looked around and he goes, they're homeless? And I'm like, no, the Drifters is a group. And he didn't understand any of that, because I looked at him, I'm saying, clearly he's not going to get this. So then there was a reference made, to Whitney Houston. And he said, my bad. Some reference was made to the Supremes. And he said, Baby Love. And he goes, well, do you know? He goes, I don't really know the song. I know it because I've heard it, but I don't know who it is and who sings it, blah, blah. And I said, I just realized something. These are all drag songs to you, aren't they? You've only ever seen them performed by a queen on stage. You have no idea who it is that's behind it or what any history of it is. He goes, I have no idea at all. I'm like, well, that's really sad. You really need to get more to it. He goes, I don't know much else. And then somebody made a reference about Whitney Houston. He goes, well, the only thing I know is her song about I Will Always Love You. And I'm like, that's not even her song. And he's like, what do you mean? So I told him the backstory of Dolly Parton and the whole thing. He's like, who's Dolly Parton? I'm like, okay, now
we're done.
Stop it.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
walk
I
away.
didn't even know those things.
I'm like, do you know the song 9 to 5? And so I sang a little bit. He goes, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, Dolly Parton I went through this whole thing, and I'm like, oh my God, how sheltered you are. It's so sad. Leading into the Beyonce concert, which he had just come from, and he was complaining. He thought the concert was a little short.
Okay.
And I said, well, I don't know. An hour and a half. Was it a good show? But I'm like, well, that seems like okay. And he goes, this other kid's like, well, no, 2.5 hours is really a concert. And I'm like, well, who are you talking about? And he goes, well, Britney Spears. I'm like, well, of course she can go 2.5 hours. She's not fucking singing.
Yeah.
She can go forever because she's not
And
doing
she has
anything.
2.5 hours of hits?
Well, no, just dance and shit.
Parenthetically?
So parenthetically.
No.
But the funny thing to me was what he
Quotation
said.
marks.
I'm like, he goes, she doesn't lip sync the whole concert. Last concert, she sang 40% of it. And I'm like, 40%?
And that you just know that first off you're talking to musical fucktards like that you have no idea what
I
music
just was
is.
Oh, God bless
astounded.
Kevin Dasso though,
No.
because
But
he
I
sure
do-
loves Britney
But he also
Spears.
knows a lot of other stuff. Like
Oh, he does.
yeah.
But I mean, whenever like you have to
I
give
like
that up to
Mariah
some
Carey.
people. Oh God, no, I don't.
No, that's
No, I
that's
don't have
Kevin.
time for her.
Whenever we bash Mariah
No.
Carey, Kevin always goes full on Kevin Dasso with
Yeah.
I like Mariah
I like her.
Carey.
Oh God, I can hear
So
him.
the Drifters, we're talking about the Drifters, right? Not the Coasters.
Right.
Right, no,
The
Coasters
Drifters.
made me remind me
So,
of the Drifters.
Stand By Me, This Magic Moment, Up
Right.
on the Roof, Spanish Harlem, There Goes My Baby, Save the Last Dance for Me, Under
Right.
the Boardwalk, like
So
They have
many
a
great
couple of songs,
yeah, couple
One or
couple
two.
of classics.
couple of tunes you might recognize.
But so I was at my inauguration party for in 08. I'll just let you guess who the president was. So someone brings over a friend that I did not invite, and so we're talking about stuff, and I always make my joke about Whitney Houston in the national anthem that, she sang every fucking song like the national anthem. So the first time the Bills go to the Super Bowl, it starts off with a dun-dun-dun, and she comes out, I'm like, oh my God, someone finally realized this is all this woman wants to sing.
Right.
She just wants to scream every song like it's the national anthem, and they finally let her, and she was phenomenal at it. She's been auditioning for years. So the older people in the crowd got a little laugh out of it, and then the one guy staring blankly, and I'm like, okay, you look baffled.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you've never heard Whitney Houston sing the national anthem? And no lie. She sings? What do you mean she sings? She's like, oh, she's just that nut from the
reality
show.
Oh my God, Bobby and Whitney. Or the Browns or whatever.
Being Bobby. Wasn't it called Being Bobby
Being
Brown?
Bobby.
Being Bobby Brown.
He thought she was just the cracked out wife of the guy who the reality show was about. Never even knew she sang.
Or was an actress in any movies.
That's pretty bad.
And I'm like, who brought this person to my house? Because I'm killing you first, and then after he watches you die, I'm going after him.
Slowly.
That's pretty bad.
Wow.
I aghast.
Yeah.
She sings?
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, know your audience. Get everyone's IDs.
Well, I learned my trip to driving up to Vegas. I was with Pussy LaHoot and Barbara Seville, and
That sounds like a fun trip.
We had a marvelous ride up,
That's
very quick,
fantastic.
wonderful ride up. But the fun thing was, Puss knows a lot about music history. She really does.
Oh, okay.
And
well, she's old. She was there for it.
Right,
Well, and not,
Puss is only
yeah,
52, 3, somewhere in there.
but really studies what she does and
really knows. Like, she told me the entire backstory of Dottie West, and I learned a lot about her. First of all, like,
Now I have to say, and I hope that I don't get shunned,
No,
I
you
don't
won't.
know who Dottie West is.
Dottie West died in a car wreck in.
But that's not why
early
she's
90s.
famous.
No. She was a singer from the 50s, 60s on. Did
Okay.
duets with Kenny Rogers.
Sure, got him.
But one of the big things was about her. She was really down and out and went through a transformation. Had a ton of plastic surgery.
not a transition.
Came out. No. She was a real girl.
Yeah.
Came back and looked completely different. And then she was
have
one
to
of.
Google her.
She was the first female country artist to ever. I don't think it's nominated. I think she received a Grammy.
Oh, wow.
She's the first female. But the other thing was she changed. All of the female country singers ever were all like Loretta Lynn. They had the dress and little perfect collar, and they were all just the little gal. Well, Dottie West comes back, and she's in spandex pants and leg warmers and wearing big
Yes.
tops and jewelry. She was very 80s in her look, and it really threw a lot of
But in the
people off.
60s.
Yeah, so she did. Yeah, she did it all her time. But
Yeah.
anyway, it just was interesting
was
to
not
find
the 80s.
find the history about her. Was very interesting to hear all of that. How she died in the car wreck, and the fact that when she was in the car wreck, she didn't think she was injured, so she had the paramedics take the other guy, only to find out that she had internal injuries and she died because she didn't go.
Oh,
Very
gosh.
interesting story, but I just didn't realize it. So it's just sort of a more you learn moment about different things.
that's cool.
The more you learn. Yeah, but again, it's interesting when people don't have a clue. So I literally sat there and educated, me and the other gentleman educated these two kids on music history.
I know nothing about country music. If it's not the Dixie Chicks.
Oh, no,
or
it wasn't
Kenny
even about
Rogers.
that. It was just like who the Supremes were and how the Dream Girls movies connected and Jennifer.
Yeah.
Then they talked about Jennifer Hudson, and we got through all these things. And then I told him the story about Martha Wash and CNC Music Factory, and how in the video they didn't want to put her in, and then she sued him, and the whole big thing about all that.
And fought for her Grammy.
And he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." Of course, he didn't know who CNC Music Factory was either.
Yeah, exactly.
You are right that she was the first female in country music history to win a Grammy.
Yeah.
For her 1965 self-penned "Here Comes My Baby."
Okay.
So kind of
Which goes along with the Drifters. There goes my baby.
yeah.
Oh,
So
here
that's the
comes
song I was
maybe
thinking of.
baby was heading towards her.
going from one to the other.
Yeah.
Well, happens.
That's cool.
Well, that's
So
a lot of information.
uneventful with anyone coming back with you in the back of the.
No, this year we went without a stowaway, which was good. 2 years ago, we had to have an extra person come back, and only 3 can fit in the cab of a U-Haul truck. So we had to put one in the back.
Oh,
so
Lord.
Amidst the bags of snow was a gentleman who used to work at the bar, and we were texting back and forth as we were driving to make sure that he was all right 2 years ago. And the fear was, because if we ever stopped for a bathroom break on that 5-hour drive back, we're going to look like we are smuggling people.
Yes,
And
Well,
especially
not
if
only
he
that,
was.
but I'm sure he's unbelted and
Oh, no.
unsecured.
Right, but he's in the middle of an entire truck
He's
full
probably
of
the
snow.
safest person in the car.
Could have
really.
been, right, yeah. But We had to sneak him in and out of the truck because I'm like, okay, all I need is a highway patrolman to see us taking this Latin kid out of the back of
especially
this.
if he's Mexican.
He's going to go
right?
through. And he's from El Paso, so originally,
goodness.
he's close to the border, knows a lot of Spanish, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get some sort of a citation for having an unbelted passenger in the back of a cargo
At the very
van.
least. Yeah.
Something like that, absolutely. Oh, for the heaven's sakes alive. We have a lot going on. We've already blown our first hour just talking about us.
Yeah.
I like it.
I hope you've all enjoyed talking about us, because we sure did. Cheesy Pete's. Coming back in just a few moments, we're going to start some headlines. We're going to roll through that. Al's got stuff about entertainment and life, and Katie has stuff about sports and more stuff. And this week, we'll probably do a thoughtful vulgarity segment.
Right, probably.
Last week,
I
we
really think we did.
We did what?
That was very thoughtful last week.
Oh, it was, but it was unexpected as hell to all of us.
Absolutely.
It's all good. It worked out for us.
I
It's
like
the
that.
show. Hour one's done. Hour two's coming. The drinking game, headlines, and so much more. Stick around. Oh, won't you please?
You've been listening to the show on Q Talk America. This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's the show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Oh, here we are, 8 o'clock, the beginning of what we call hour two. You call another hour to suffer through.
But it's cold, so what else are you going to do?
Right, it's cold. You're in Studio C with us. It's the show with Clayton McKee. That is me. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with Katie June, Marnie Ryer, and that's Al Perkins in the burgundy or wine-colored shirt.
Merlot.
Merlot.
Wine is too vague,
It could be any shade.
because my wine is not this color.
So if you spill it on your shirt, it'll be fine. Fine and dandy. Anywho, coming up this hour, we've got our headline segments, entertainment, and we do like to kick off most of these hours, the second hour we call it, with a little thing we call the drinking disclaimer.
And now, a drink along. We dare you to stay awake during this royalty-free music and to play a drinking game with us. If you are currently or soon to be driving a car, you cannot play. If you are presently the primary caregiver for children and or the elderly, you may desperately want to play, but no. If you are listening from a rehab facility, you are disqualified because you already hit bottom. And that means you already won this game at least once. If playing this game is in any way illegal for you, put the bottle down and make better life choices. There is no good in your goodbye, and there is no lifeguard on duty, so you will be swimming at your own risk. Tell your lawyer to take the fucking day off. You can't sue us. We warned you. Good luck.
Yeah, I think you have that programmed every
No,
week.
I just forget to take off whatever it is.
I actually love it.
Don't
As
you
long as we
forget
don't-
about me.
As long
Don't
as we
you?
don't get busted,
Dan.
let's keep it
Yeah.
up.
So I have my drinking word that I'm so excited about, but we're going to bump it again because Marnie
Oh.
brought up my favorite word in the English language.
Okay.
And it used to make me giggle as a child, and it made me giggle again today. Zamboni, people.
Zamboni!
Zamboni. Because I used to hate hockey games
a
because they
verb,
bore the
it's a
shit out of
noun.
me. I don't want to watch toothless strangers fight. But then in the middle, they'd bring out the Zamboni and clean the ice, and I was just delighted by the word, the how stupid the driver looked. Because he was another toothless fellow that maybe wasn't bright enough to still
But he
skate.
wasn't even
Oh.
playing.
Yeah.
At least the other toothless guys are like doing sport.
He had been majorly concussed and was now forced to drive the Zamboni.
Oh.
To be concussed.
All right, so our drinking word tonight is Zamboni.
Zamboni.
Feel free to use it as you
Zamboni.
will. We are going to drink along with that.
appreciate it.
And at this time, Marnie and I will take off and do our our news segment, I
Our
guess. How we do that?
sub-segment.
Here we go. I don't know if we'll get through all these or not, but it doesn't really matter. We'll somehow try to make it through and make it interesting. We are running so late, but who fucking cares? It's our show.
I know. We'll be back.
The TSA confiscates a sock monkey's pistol.
I'm having a dream about who to shake hands with.
Man pulls a sword and demands free tacos.
I have proof that Santa loves us.
Oregon man learns that driving a tank is harder than it looks.
Chinese food for Christmas?
Man sells high mileage wife on Craigslist.
The New York Post says homelessness is hooey.
And man arrested 62 times for simply going to work. These stories and much more less interesting topics tonight.
And less interesting. We will go in descending order.
Oh, well, in light of time, let's go right to this. Earl Sampson has been stopped and questioned by Miami Gardens police 258 times in the past 4 years. He's been searched more than 100 times and arrested and jailed 56 times. Despite his long rap sheet, Sampson, who is 28 years old, has never been convicted of anything more serious than a possession of marijuana. However, Miami Gardens police have arrested Sampson 62 times for one offense, trespassing. And almost every citation was issued at the exact same place, the Quick Stop, a convenience store in Miami Gardens. The problem is, that's where he works.
All right. Now, did we already do this story?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
no.
All right.
I read the
No?
headline a couple weeks ago. We never got to it, and I said I would
okay.
save it.
Yeah.
Because I am familiar with this story, and
Yes.
it's delightful.
So the problem is he's a store clerk, and that's his job. Now, so it's a question as to why he's been arrested so many times that the store owner, Alex Sala, who is 36, I don't know why they keep putting people's ages and
Sala.
things. He's been asking for more than a year as he has watched Sampson and his other employees and customers day after day be stopped by the Miami Gardens police and frisked and questioned and harassed. And like Sampson, most of the customers and employees are, unfortunately, poor and of black persuasion. And like Sampson, many of them have been cited for minor infractions, sometimes as often as 3 times in the same day at the same location. Sala was so troubled by what he saw that he decided to install video cameras in his store, not to protect himself from criminals. But he says that he has never been robbed, but he installed all of them, 15 cameras.
Because he arrests anybody that goes to shop there.
No, he installed the 15 cameras to protect him and his customers from the police.
That's crazy.
Since he installed the cameras in June of 12, he has collected more than 24 videos, some of which have been obtained by the Miami Herald. And those tapes and Sampson's 38-page criminal history, including charges, have never even been pursued by prosecutors. Some raise troubling questions about the conduct of the city's police officers. The videos show, among other things, cops stopping citizens, questioning, aggressively searching them, and arresting them for trespassing when they have permission to be on the property. So apparently what they're doing is they're getting ready to file charges to have all of this investigated by
it sounds like they're
area
just being
prosecutors.
dicks.
Repeated phone messages and emails to the Miami Gardens Police Chief Matthew Boyd and City Manager Cameron Benson asking for comment on the story were not returned. Apparently, the city is just ready to expose themselves to an entire massive liability and civil lawsuit.
It's good to be
It's
ready.
just crazy
Absolutely, be
because this is a
prepared.
convenience store, right?
Right.
I missed that. And convenience stores are frequented by many people, including low income
Right.
black people.
And anybody.
Anybody. Like, can you, I just, what?
so
I love
you-
that they're trespassing. These people are trespassing my property. I would
I'm
like
go-
them to not buy anything.
Yeah.
No, but I'm going to work. Can I not?
Yeah.
You're trespassing. I work here.
Right.
Dumbass. That's insane.
That is a really bad.
And like I said, no charges have ever been pursued on him. Nothing. They just harass him, arrest him, take him in. He comes back.
And
at
they
you.
obviously, I mean, I'm sure it's not a different cop 56 times that have arrested him.
Right.
It's probably the
It's-
same police officers.
Well, no. That I don't know. It didn't say in the story. However, they're saying that it appears that in this, and I don't know how big, what's it called, Miami Gardens is. It's probably not huge.
Probably a big
It's in
sinkhole.
Florida.
Yeah.
Is it in Manatee County? Slowest turtle in the herd township.
Zamboni!
I will never ever recover from
Manatee.
Manatee. What do we want to call this county? What's the most
What's around?
random word you can think of?
Oh, manatee.
Here in Zamboni County, Wisconsin.
Manatee.
which probably exists.
It probably,
Oh,
it probably
probably
does.
does.
Yeah.
Because the same fucktards that
Yeah.
named Manatee moved to Wisconsin.
That's right.
Or
But-
came from Wisconsin.
Yeah, they wanted better weather.
Sure.
But to your point, my guess is that what they're alleging is it's the entire police force of the Miami Gardens area is corrupt, and they're all doing it. It didn't say anything about a specific or a recurring officer doing it.
horrible.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, so
Ridiculous.
careful where you go to work because you might get arrested for it. Marnie
You're
Ryan?
going to work.
Well, you really should have a dream about who you want to shake hands with. Apparently.
Oh, yeah.
In putting two things together, one of the funniest things that I heard, that came out wrong. Let me start over. So Nelson Mandela has passed.
Yes.
So that's not funny.
Do we want to go right to...
Okay. No.
No.
Coming up later, Death Watch.
Zamboni.
Calm down.
My apologies, good people of South Africa.
Mine as well for having said anything months ago, but I win. So the Paris Hilton. Did you guys hear about the fake tweet?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Apparently-
No, I didn't.
I reposted
Paris Hilton
it.
is still alive. Is
Yeah.
she on the death
Not
list?
yet.
She
We
should
should
be.
put her there.
And
Somebody's coming off today,
After
so
this fake
wait a
tweet, after this fake tweet, she probably could have been killed. So she
Oh my God, it's been
There
so
was-
long. It's permanent.
apparently there were some people that put a fake tweet out there stating that it was from Paris Hilton.
I loved
and
it.
and when I heard it, I roared. It said, "Our rest in peace, Nelson Mandela. Your I Have a Dream speech was so inspiring. Amazing man."
I laughed so hard when I
Oh
saw
my
that.
God, I did too.
reposted it on Facebook because I thought it was funny as
And
hell.
she
didn't. That was
apparently it's a fake tweet, but the best
Right.
part of that is that it's much like the Onion and some different things
Right.
where you go,
You don't know.
you don't
Is that
know,
real?
especially anything about Bachman or
yeah.
Palin, and you kind
And
of
you think
like,
Paris Hilton's that fucking stupid, so
Yes.
why wouldn't she do that?
easily,
Yeah.
easily. So I thought that was very, very funny that that they made it so that she
Your
she
I Have a Dream
screwed-
speech
Yeah, you're an
was
amazing,
the
amazing
best.
man. Yeah, because that was only
She's a clown.
60 years ago.
But of
So-
course, it was fake, but it was still very funny.
It was. And so when I say you're having a dream about who you shake hands with today, I don't know how many of you in here
Yep.
or listening were able to see any of Mandela's memorial service. And there was a really big deal. I thought it was really interesting that the bigger story would be about them flying over there to begin with, because it was on Air Force One. It was Obama and Michelle.
Obama can't fly in anything but Air Force One.
I
Right.
know.
Yep.
George W. and Laura
Oh,
and Hillary.
Right.
They
Oh,
all
but-
flew
But how
together.
did, how did
over
Bill
there.
and Jimmy Carter get there then?
I honestly
They,
don't know.
they flew.
They
were
took
at
a boat.
No. they were kayaking
I don't know.
around
I
South
don't know.
Africa.
Something.
No, they
They're
you
on
do.
Survivor now.
They were
Yeah.
they were at because they work together a lot now.
Yeah,
the
that's true.
first George and Clinton, they were at a fundraiser and I forget what country, and they flew together separately from the event that they were at.
So everybody had to
On
play
another
nice.
well, but
Now George W had to be nudged a little to
No,
remind
no,
him
no.
who he was.
Well, no, not
But W was there.
George
W.
W. rode
W
with.
was with Obama,
Right.
But
George
HW was
City,
with
he
Clinton.
didn't go.
Right.
He didn't
No,
go.
he
Jimmy
was there.
Carter went.
Oh yes. That
Yeah,
was
Jimmy
he's too
Carter and
sick.
Bill
right.
Clinton.
That
Yeah,
was.
it was Jimmy
I'm
Carter
sorry.
and Bill
That was
Clinton.
the
I'm
four
like,
because they
did
said
he?
4 former presidents.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and Carter and Clinton, duh, like obviously they're buddies. But
Humanitarian stuff.
I have to imagine legitimately that these guys are, yes, they do their job, but especially once they're out of office, yes, they still work and they're still, involved.
Well, only
but
44 people have ever had this job.
I just
So
feel
you really
like
do have to find a
they're
support
gonna
group.
be buddies,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna be best friends, and they
At all.
obviously disagree on a lot of things, but you just aren't gonna.
Now,
you're gonna get along.
It was HW and Clinton that started the.
Yes.
Is it Haiti relief? What did they started something for a natural disaster, and I want to say it was
I
Haiti.
thought it was it Haiti or was it Katrina?
Or was it
Oh,
tsunami?
no. It was-
Then it was Haiti.
It was way.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay, then it was Haiti. No.
Yeah, I think it was Haiti that they
Okay.
started their thing for. Oh no, nobody did anything for Katrina. Those were black people.
Oh
Dear.
no, but I thought that
Um,
and they're white in Haiti.
our own black
When did
people.
they become white
Yeah.
in Haiti?
Oh well, don't you remember they were on the
Zamboni.
they were on the side of the island that didn't free that freed the slaves, so they deserved what they got.
My bad.
Don't you remember Pat Robertson saying
My
that?
bad. That's right.
That they get all the bad
Pat
weather,
Robertson.
not because
Because
of like
they freed the
geography.
slaves.
Yeah, because
That's
they
right.
freed their slaves.
Well,
right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Pat Robertson, he's a treat.
Well, there was a huge, and I apologize, kind of going along with this, the huge thing about for all the people that were there, and of course, this was the biggest.
As we said, it would be. It would be the
ever.
it would be the largest funeral probably that will ever be held.
Absolutely. I mean, amazing. And so you have all of these folks there. Well, that's not just going to be the Americans that are flying over there.
Right.
So you
No,
have a whole lot of other people.
90 they had 90 heads of state or royalty that were either
right.
current or former heads of state or actually the reigning monarchs
Yeah,
of their nation.
right.
Like it was 90.
Big fucking deal.
So who do you pick that gets behind the glass shield?
Yeah.
So the section with the glass
Everybody.
shield was everybody. It seriously
Yeah.
was like box seats for Britney Spears.
Right.
Everybody
And
was
the
in
show was 2.5 hours.
the largest Pope
But
mobile
yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, there was a receiving line, if you will, as far as going down and people shaking hands and doing whatever. And
This
as,
makes me want to punch people.
But you know what I'm referring to. So
Yeah.
you heard about it. So as Obama's walking, he is shaking hands, gets to Raul Castro,
president of Cuba.
President of Cuba shakes hands.
Fidel's,
Which is
moves
the
on.
normal
Fidel's
thing to
younger
do.
brother.
Yes. Moves on. Right? And continues to
Oh.
shake hands. And
Pictures, highlights, circles around it, so you
Yes.
know who Obama is in the
were
picture.
they looking each other in the eye? Did they have some secret communication?
this
Did
the
he
start
hand
of-
something off? Is
Is this the start of détente, or is it just Zamboni?
just Zamboni?
Yeah.
So it would blown up. It was all
Thank
over
God
CNN.
the guys that you just really dislike on KTAR at least acknowledge too that like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If
Right.
you don't shake hands, it's a big national, international,
a
horrible
huge
scandal
snub,
there.
yep.
Which I agree. You don't have to like
Hug
the
and
guy.
kiss and make
you
out.
don't have to be best friends, but you're at somebody else's
Out of respect.
memorial. Don't make this isn't about you.
You were-
shake his
and
fucking
not
hand.
You're
just
at
that.
please and thank you. Hello,
He's
goodbye.
in a reception line.
Yeah.
You shake his hand.
Yeah.
This isn't about
Are you
you.
gonna just walk past him?
But then they're saying, but then you're damned if you do, because people like Michelle fucking Bachmann, who it wasn't. It was actually two. It was
Yeah.
McCain and
Yeah.
Marco Rubio and
Marco
some other
Rubio.
dumb no-name bitch from Florida that's trying to make a name for herself. That said, Senator McCain was the one that said it's akin to shaking hands with Hitler.
Yeah.
Which I just go, way to rile people up.
Yeah. 'Cause
they
Way
all
to
wanna
be
win
a
Florida.
fucking asshole.
Because you have to be very careful with the Cubans in Florida. They are
Right.
their own animal, and they were chased out. So Cuba is their homeland and what they want to go back to, but it's also the place with the evil man. So you're always courting the Florida vote, and the Florida vote is all about Cuba.
And some other
And you
bitch
can't-
from Florida
you can't play it right.
said there's no way
way
to
to
do
play
it.
that right.
Some
There
other bitch
absolutely
from
is
Florida
not.
said that that they were creating, and I wish I could think of the word, but that handshake proved that they are creating a coup to take over
my
the world.
God, I
This
did
is
not.
literally, she is a congresswoman from Florida.
Yeah.
This was a
I
symbol.
saw her. I
But
saw her,
she's
but I
a
didn't hear that
coup.
part.
She's up for re-election this year, and she's
I hope she
probably
loses.
in a heavily
Terrifying.
she's probably in a heavily Cuban area of South Florida, and she has to play her cards
She
right
is a bitch.
to
is
make
what she
sure.
is.
Because if he had walked by, they'd be like, "This is disrespectful to all the Cubans
You
in
hate
America."
Cubans. And
You
then she would
walked
say the
by a
same thing.
Cuban.
Our president hates Cuba.
Yeah.
Democrats also hate
Right.
Cuba. But he shook his hand, so now he's creating a coup, and he
And
also
even-
hates Cubans.
Even CNN got caught up in the frenzy. They're like, "What
They
does it mean?"
did.
It means he walked by and he followed
he
the
was
basic
polite.
rule of hello, goodbye,
Yeah.
please, and thank you.
He was respectful to Mandela.
Yeah.
That's
and
all
to
it
the
was.
whole thing, it was
to the, to
I
the
was
whole process.
so
but if you
pissed
take
hearing about
everything
this.
away, it was about him being respectful
Because
to Nelson Mandela
was actually friendly with Fidel Castro, and then so just to piggyback on top of this, so Ted Cruz, of course, needs to win Florida as well, and
Yes.
has to play
God,
his
is
cards
he
correctly.
Not, he's not done yet.
No, I haven't killed him.
Put him on the list.
Still working on my alibi.
I got your back. I'm right here.
Airtight. You were here.
Hey, Al.
You were here
Al.
on the show.
I'm right here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna photobomb something as I kill him. So he decides
Now
he
go.
needs international. He needs
Selfie.
international attention.
Yeah.
So he flew
Good.
to Johannesburg
Oh,
for the
God.
funeral.
Nobody wanted
and
him there.
everybody was like, "Why
Why are you here?
You are completely
The
like you vote
antithesis
against, yeah.
of
You
what
dipshit.
Nelson Mandela
You try to take
stood
away
for.
voters' rights. You do everything you
Yeah.
can to keep
You're
inequality.
anti-Mandela.
You're anti-Mandela. But he puts,
I heard somebody, like when you get off the plane in Hawaii, like they give you a lei and aloha and whatever. I heard somebody gave him Kool-Aid the minute he got off the plane.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zamboni.
Zamboni.
Just him though.
Yeah. So
Just him.
the funny thing is he put on his Facebook page, and you can go and find it. He put something nice. He put something very
did.
appropriate on his Facebook page. But then he found out who his supporters were in Texas, and they're calling Mandela the person who kills white people. He's a communist.
God.
You're just getting in. Like, why are you doing this? You've just become a liberal.
Oh
so he
my
actually.
God.
So he just guaranteed his way of losing the primary because again, Zamboni. But the funniest thing was he kills white people. Are you high?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Play me a clip of that song. Anyways,
In related Cuban news, has anybody seen Elaine Gonzalez lately? Kind of cute. Anyway,
but just
No, but I'm about to Google him.
just a funny story. So
Killing
we'll
me.
just
I
tap
love
on
it.
the death den, so we don't have to get to it later. So Marnie gets 10 points for picking Nelson Mandela, even though he was 95. It was a politically incorrect and probably makes her very unpopular amongst listeners.
Well, but that wasn't my reason.
It's
for
Marnie. It was all
picking
Marnie. It was all Marnie, everybody.
Well, he
Oh,
was old and
God.
sick, so just any
Okay.
hate mail, please
I'm
send
not
to
sure who
Marnie.
put Valerie Harper up there, but I'm not comparing the two. I'm
Yeah,
just
do.
stating.
I like how you. I like who you've added to it.
So in replace of, I made the choice, since everyone hates Marnie now for predicting
Sorry.
Nelson Mandela's death.
Okay, well.
We've replaced it with Paris
Just like
or
everybody
Perez
else.
Hilton. Since
Either
one
or.
or the other.
And then, as you tell the story to your children in future years,
did
Marnie
it-
Ryer killed Nelson
Did
Mandela
it-
By the way,
with a
Zamboni.
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 he totally got my first and last name correct for that.
Yeah,
Did
that's
any-
the one time.
Wow.
Did anybody
Yeah.
else see, and I don't think this was satire, I think this was real, about how Rick Santorum got thrown into this whole Mandela thing?
Oh gosh.
I saw it.
About
I saw some of it, yeah.
something connected with Mandela and using it to crash Obamacare, and he had
It was
no
about
idea that
Obamacare.
South
Oh, yeah.
Africa has socialized medicine.
He said that.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he compared
He's a dumbass.
Anderson, wasn't it
the fight
Anderson Cooper
against.
that was
the,
with
it
him?
was the fight against his fight. And all Republicans' fight against Obamacare was
Sure.
the same as Nelson Mandela's
Right.
fight against apartheid.
That's right.
And then Anderson Cooper had to politely point out they have socialized medicine over there. So they already fought that battle
We'll
and
go to-
decided what the right side was.
We'll,
And
we'll go to a commercial.
it was,
And also,
it was
hey, how about also-
hysterical.
They're absolutely not the same.
yeah.
No.
Like it's like not even in the
It's- I
same
mean,
One
world of
is
a fight.
offering everyone health care. One is
is
keeping someone down and
killing
away from
people.
killing people.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was good. Well done. Anyway,
Very
That's
funny.
it?
Yeah.
Well, we had a touch
I mean,
on
there's
it.
there's a lot.
Oh, no,
There's a
no,
lot
I just
more
meant-
to it. It was just fantastic though, because when he went up to, as he's going past, and he goes up and gives his eulogy and his
And,
speech.
and who knows? It could be the start of détente. They're 90 miles off the Florida Keys. It might be a good country to keep in your back pocket as an ally.
Yeah, because what's going to happen? I mean, if this does go that way and it all works out, well, then this big hullabaloo of this whole handshake will be it's the greatest thing,
Yeah.
the greatest extension of a hand that has ever been known to man. Blah.
Yes.
It'll be the fucking deal.
yeah,
the
and
Holy
he
also,
Grail.
I mean, he went past.
and we're keeping an
um,
embargo in place for Gloria Estefan, as far as I can tell, and maybe Andy
Well,
Garcia.
maybe.
Maybe Andy Garcia. I'm not sure of his thoughts.
But it was fantastic that he walked, after he had done this and respectful, he went up and he gave his speech and offered, it says, implicit criticism of governments like Cuba's.
Yes.
When he walked
But
up
they
there,
won't,
he
but
didn't
yeah.
say Cuba, you son
Right.
of a bitch, but
Oppressive governments.
absolutely.
Whatever.
Oppressive
Did you
government.
find Alien Gonzalez?
He is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cute.
think-
Also, he looks like he could grow up to be a little scary.
And,
too.
yeah. And then you got to remember, this is another case of American interventionalists.
It's a
It's like
stowaway.
Iran. I always say it wrong, but it's Iran. It's like that country where we went in and took over the country, and the Cubans just fought to get us out and get their government back. Like, they fought against U.S. rule of Cuba and
Okay.
kicked out U.S. businesses and established their own country. They did it with communism. They used Russia's help. But it was us that were meddling in another
which we just tend to do.
another country's
Mm-hmm.
business.
And I just don't get it.
And we did it for
US,
years.
back off.
And then we're all bitter that why were they pissed off? Because it's not your fucking country.
It's not yours.
And again, I told people all through the aughts, as we call them, the 01 to whenever we are now. If you don't want to be imperialists, then stop invading other countries.
Well, and it's kind of like the
it
sibling.
makes me crazy.
It's a sibling, whether and I don't, except for ones that I've given myself. I don't have siblings as far as growing up with, and yet I look at it. It kind of seems like America sometimes is that older sister or brother, or just older something, where they're just fucking annoying and they know it all, and we know it best.
I'll show you how to run
And,
your country. I'll show you how to
exactly.
do it. I'll show you how to.
God,
Here's
what
how
are
you-
you doing?
But first we're going to
I
take
know way
over.
better.
We're going to introduce all the shit to your country. And then when you want your business, and we just saw, Barbara and I just saw Evita last week.
Right, you did.
Which, beautiful production. If it's coming to a town near you, they got it. They took the entire Broadway production. They skimped on nothing. The girl playing Evita is fantastic. It was so well done, but this was about the British imperialists. And the problem with Evita is that they feel free to call her a whore for 90 minutes, but they never say all that she did for Argentina, which is she got rid of the British imperialists, and she killed a couple, she cut a couple up, she might have buried a few alive.
Well,
But
like
they
you
were,
do.
But they were
Zamboni.
gone. But they won't call her. They won't say she was a woman of power. They just call her a whore over and over again. They won't say that she was the puppet master of the government and got the British out of Argentina and got them back their country. For better or worse, Argentina stands or falls on its own, largely based on this woman who, through the man that she was married to, appealed to the people and told them the British got to go.
Yeah.
Mostly because she wanted the money and she stole a lot of it. But
And Ricky Martin helped
but
too.
it's the same story over and
He
over
was
again
there.
of all these countries that are like, you know what, white people, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
This ain't your country. We want our money.
Why you
Yeah.
gotta be
Suck it,
meddling?
Whitey.
There's
To-
the door.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a very common story.
And we would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
meddling kids. And the money kept
Ruh-roh.
rolling in. So if Evita is touring near you, please go see it. They did a beautiful job. I saw it on Broadway and I saw this on tour and it was great.
I wish I would have.
Continuing on with other stories in the headlines, a Virginia man who received an ultimatum from his wife over his Harley-Davidson motorcycle, well, he decided put them both online for sale. Saying that both are in, quote, excellent condition, the going price is
friendly.
$5,900 in Bob White's ad, which reads, wife says Harley goes or she goes, your choice, $5,900.
Oh, God.
The Harley is a 2006 Sportster and only has 6,500 miles on it. And he says the 1959 model wife has high mileage, but both are in excellent condition.
I like him.
He shared pictures of both the bike and his wife, noting that the wife is high maintenance, but also tells potential buyers that they can test drive the bike, not his
the
wife. The ad was put up as a joke, and the couple later appeared on local news programs to clear up what some believed to be a serious offer. After all was said and done, he was able to keep both of them with his wife's permission.
You know, I have to tell you,
That's very funny.
it's hard to make
I love
white
that people are
slavery.
like,
Yeah, it's hard to make white slavery funny, but he did
But
it.
it is.
Zamboni.
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 Well, and not just that, but it's just what we talked about with Paris Hilton and The Onion and things like that.
Yeah.
Is it real?
It was
Yeah.
totally real. It even,
That could
there
totally
even-
go to parody.
there is even footage of them on the news show talking about it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
very
and I would
That's
love it if
it.
it said gently used.
Gently used.
I have a small penis.
What I loved is the fact that it was a 2006 bike, but the 1959 wife.
I'm going to find Logan.
That-
But
Yeah,
that's
fantastic.
that's a fun couple.
Yeah.
That's a good sense of humor.
I like
That's
that.
Al,
Being a-
what are you looking for? Lotion. Go to buy my recliner in the living room.
I don't want to know. I
Yeah,
don't.
my hands are always dry. My thumbs bleed. They're so dry.
Okay, we're gonna
Mine
moving on.
too.
Jesus Christ, people.
So Santa loves us, and I know why.
Because the Bible
love
tells
him.
me so.
No, that's Jesus,
Oh,
dumbass.
whatever. They're both
Look, it's Jesus.
They're both fictitious characters.
Well,
Oh, but he found pretzels.
The box of Kleenex was just to the left.
Stop. It was not. That's a dirty lie.
it's to the
It was,
right.
it was a hand towel, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
there you go.
My apologies for the misrepresentation.
That was Marty the cat. Sorry.
Oh.
I was like, hey,
Marty.
She's
people
a
are
Not
little
gonna miss
Marty.
stiff.
People are gonna miss it.
Calm your Zamboni down.
She's stiffened with
You
filth.
leave my Zamboni out of
God
this.
damn it.
So, I enjoy the incredibly spicy food.
Ooh,
right?
yes.
Good
Like,
for you.
A little bit. The
you
the
scream
sriracha.
Zamboni when you shit?
Zamboni. Sriracha. Anybody?
Burns twice.
We like sriracha.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
Sad
it.
about it.
Yeah. No. I understand going away. Sriracha is apparently going away.
It's on the way out.
Oh, it can't.
It terrifies me.
It can't really be. They can't really stop it.
Nations
Yeah.
will fall. Nations
You have
will
no
fall.
idea. It really will
It
happen.
really is.
Everybody
There is
everybody I want to ever date will lose their fucking
I'm
mind.
telling you, it is. I kind of feel like between that and Cholula, I can put these things on like oranges, and I'd be fine with that,
Okay.
and just eat that. Well, for my birthday, I did get some of these, but they're now sriracha candy canes.
Oh, not that I give a shit about it, but I'm sure you're excited. Wow. Okay.
And I have them
Oh.
at home. I was going to bring one in for like a show and tell, but I don't want to share.
I'm gonna have a
So-
Werther's right now.
Honestly, so good.
I was
thought,
going to bring them in, but I don't like you.
I
people.
don't like you. Maybe next week. Maybe closer to Christmas.
Oh,
But I
we
really
only
thought-
have one more
I
show
know,
left
I
of
know,
the
I
year.
know. That's what I mean. It's closer.
I'm out. You go. Your candy canes are
Yeah, I
They're
like.
safe?
I mean, like I can handle sriracha on one or two, like a dash, maybe, but a candy cane.
Oh God, I like. It's like ketchup.
All right. Wow.
Oh, I love it.
All
I
right.
love it.
All right.
Candy cane, delightful.
I knew someone that carried it to work with her. She was so afraid of finding something unsrirachi'd in her world.
Absolutely. I enjoy her tremendously. I have no idea, but I enjoy
She's your kind of
her.
gal.
She is. Because I can't. Like I go somewhere, I'm like, what do you mean you don't have that? What? Ugh.
Is your story
place are
going to
you
go
running?
into the factory? As you're going
Well,
into
the
that? 'Cause
factory
I have a question.
the factory is supposedly closing, and it was after it had moved, and people were complaining about the
neighbors,
smell.
yeah.
And interestingly enough, the people that went out to check the factory and be like, where is this odor, couldn't smell anything. It's an interesting dun 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 kind of. We don't know what's exactly going on. I think they want to finally raise the price of it, but that's just me.
No, the way I heard the story originally was that the area, it's in somewhere in Southern California, correct?
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Yep.
But if I'm not mistaken, the story that I initially read was that the city had proposed that how's it pronounced, sriracha?
Yeah. I always say sriracha because that's just how it's
Right.
written.
So, but it's got the rooster on it. It's the
Sriracha.
red sauce.
It's
Okay.
a cock.
Yeah.
Cock of the walk.
The gallo, if you will.
El pollo loco.
See?
I was so in the story that I read, the city had proposed that they put they call them scrubbers. That's if I'm not mistaken, it's a water sort of any exhaust emitted from the factory. It's put through a scrubber, and it's sort of like when you distill water, the water will then go away, but whatever's left behind is there. So any particulates in the exhaust would then be trapped, and it wouldn't go out into the air and cause problems with the.
We need to come up with that for people that have bad gas.
But but apparently the factory didn't want to do the retrofit for it because it was expensive. But I can't imagine. If you're
retrofit, it was a new.
But to add the scrubbers, they had to add
see.
this because
Okay.
they didn't initially have them.
Okay.
But my thought is, well, if you're selling this goddamn sauce hand over fist, I don't really think a retrofit's going to be hurtful to you.
Right. You either
financially.
retrofit or close.
Right.
That
Or-
sounds
but
weird.
are they going to
owner-
move it to where are they moving it to? Catalina
They
Island, where nobody
apparently
else
aren't,
is.
Because one of the big
No,
things
they said
about
they were
this
gonna close.
One of the big things about this is that there was the gentleman who owns or came up with sriracha came from Korea, whatever,
Okay.
and came over, and nowhere did they have a good enough spice for food. So he was like, well,
I'll
I'll
make
just
my own.
make that.
Okay.
And so he came up with it, had the recipe. I think there's only one other person. It's kind of like the baked beans thing,
Oh, right.
whatever.
Bush's Baked Beans.
Bush's baked beans. Excuse me. And so there's only one other person that knows. He's never released anything about his financial situation as far as what he makes. There was something in an article that I read that they've never raised the price.
The price of it.
Yep. So they just keep it steady. It's like, whatever.
I
We're
can't
just gonna
imagine
And
keep
they've
though.
also never raised they have slowly over time the quantity that they're making, but
Right.
they sell out and they're like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
aren't like buying
But they
any.
make fresh, like everything is it's fresh peppers, it's this and that.
Right.
And there was a big thing about where they will plant this stuff. So there was a lot of land available, but it was a lot of wine land, and they can't plant the peppers in this wine land.
It'll taint the ground.
It'll make it
Oh,
a different
for the
taste.
wine?
But
No, for the,
for the peppers.
But I can't.
It'll make sriracha.
I just
taste
cannot
different.
imagine. They're serious. They may close that, but they've got to move it and they've got to reopen somewhere. I can't imagine. As big of a moneymaker as this
This
is,
guy sounds like
He
he's
sounds
kind of
like a real hippy dippy, laid back, like whatever. If sriracha doesn't make it, I mean, it
doesn't make
seems
it.
weird.
He'll
but
keep making
that
it for
was
himself.
the story that I heard on NPR. They did this whole story about it. Was that it was just gonna shut its doors. Like this was it.
don't tell me that Nestle or somebody isn't going to come in and say, "Look, we'll give
He
you
won't
$5
get- he won't-
billion
People have
dollars."
come in, and they have. I have
can't
the whole-
imagine that.
I'll have to
Because
to
people
bring
are
that in.
obsessed with
Put the
sriracha.
sriracha plant on the death watch.
Yeah.
But to make sure.
Oh my God! Yes.
Because this whole a few weeks ago, actually, before this actually blew up, there was a whole article about sriracha, and I had the thing printed off because it fascinated me. And that's where I learned about where they plant it and what they do. And the guy sounds like kind of a Howard Hughes, Korean Howard Hughes, as it were, but where he just kind of
weird dude.
He just a kind of an odd duck. That's
How
like
who?
what a yeah,
How
aw,
who?
I do not give up.
I just can't imagine that there's
Zamboni
Zamboni.
unintentional.
If there's-
intentional.
if there is money to be made somewhere, everybody's got a price, and I just can't imagine this is going to go
I'll
down.
have to bring in that
I
article.
mean, for
because,
God's sakes,
yeah.
Twinkies went away for 6 fucking weeks,
and
all of a
people
sudden-
went ape shit. They
Ape
came
shit.
right back.
And maybe we'll see something out of that. But truly, this was where in there he has been. People have come up and offered him shitloads of money, and he's like,
For the recipe.
Would you do me a favor and you keep an eye on that story because
Yeah.
I think that's going to develop into something
I think so
else and
too.
it's going to bubble up somewhere else.
They have sriracha candy canes.
Don't
I need
don't tell me that again. I don't really care for it. I don't like the spice myself.
I'm
but
not
just,
a big
I
sriracha
just
person.
see how fucking popular it
It
is,
is.
and
Well,
I can't imagine that it's just going to go away.
I will, and I'll bring that article in. I left it, I printed it, and I still have it. Interestingly enough, when I went to Missouri, Jason's mom had made a list, and I had sriracha on it, and she couldn't find it anywhere, and found a Kraft sriracha, and I thought, oh, that's sweet, and then I went and had it. Holy shit!
Not good.
Oh God, it's delicious.
Oh.
But it
Oh.
was really kind of 2, 3, 4, 10 something times.
Spicy.
Well, you know that's what's
Sriracha.
going to happen. Like, there's
Has
that
a
one
kick.
recipe you're used to, and then somebody's going to be like,
Right.
well, if you like hot, I can make it, but I'm going to make your tits fall off.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Not the
Wow, not those.
But so there are other products that are out there very similar, but it's just not sriracha.
I
So,
understand.
but I will keep my eye on that.
Yeah,
we
I
do
would
have
like
candy canes though. So
I'd
if
like you to
anybody
keep an eye
wants
on that
those-
because I think that's something to watch.
Perfect.
Well, I know, and everybody does this. When you get something new, or even if you're just researching it, you want to read the owner's manual. I know everybody reads the owner's manual of their cars, don't you? Don't you all? Haven't you all?
Nope, that's why we have you.
I got the owner's. I actually read the owner's manual of the car I've been driving for a month and a half.
I have a car.
Yeah,
I
I
keep
understand.
all of my owner's manuals in one place.
In the
Yeah, me
glove
I
too.
don't
box.
look at them.
Yeah.
But
In case I sell something, I know where to go get them the owner's manual.
For those of you who do know what I'm speaking about, it's a book that tells you how to own, operate, and maintain things. And sometimes it's just not enough, the knowledge that's within that. An Oregon man bought and had shipped to his house something that he'd always wanted. And really, who wouldn't want a 1969 Chieftain Army battle tank? The Oregonian newspaper reports that the truck driver transporting the tank was unable to climb the grade up to the man's house, which is a very steep hill. So he unloaded the tank that he was transporting in a gravel area along U.S. Highway 101 in Oregon. Oregon State Police say that that's when the 58-year-old man learned the hard way that just because you've read the manual doesn't mean you know how to drive a 50-ton battle tank.
That's a true story.
He lives in a coastal town of Gold Beach, Oregon, and here's what happened. He says that the man drove the tank up the incline, and it popped out of gear, rolled backwards, rolled down across a busy highway, crashing through a guardrail. Well, he decided to give it another try. The tank rolled again backwards, down the hill, through another guardrail, and down an embankment. That's 2 times 50-ton tank across the highway. Didn't hurt anybody, but tore the hell out of guardrails. He was cited for reckless driving, first-degree criminal mischief, and in all reports, did find out, though, the tank's fine.
surprise, surprise.
There are pictures online that show the tank
Really, the tank made it?
sitting across a highway and it busted through an entire guardrail. I'm like, wow. But apparently he was a big fan of these tanks and read every manual, thought he knew all about it, but didn't realize that you just can't drive it up a goddamn incline like that. They'll come
good.
down. Gravity's
any
against you.
It is.
Zamboni. If you heard of Zamboni.
Zamboni.
That's why I don't hike.
Oh, because you know what goes up must come down.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
why.
the only reason.
Sure. All right.
That's all. All right. Chinese food for Christmas, anyone?
I do
Yeah.
enjoy some Chinese food. Yeah.
I do. Do you guys have any, like, on Christmas? What do you, is it typically with family? Is it?
We do a big Christmas ham, the whole shebang.
Okay.
Mom does a different country each year for we do
Okay.
traditional
that's
Thanksgiving,
cool.
and she surprises me for Christmas at what country food we're doing. So I
that's
don't
a
know
good
what this
idea.
year's
That is
country
good,
is.
Yeah.
Ethiopia is going to be some easy cooking.
Rice.
Sally
Yeah.
Struthers on a
Here's
stick.
your plate.
I like it.
Here's
Chew on that.
Enjoy
Go
for
sing
50
We-
cents a
Go
day.
sing We Are the World a couple times.
And
Here's a
there's
quote.
Oh, that's not the right
snow
one. Do they know
in
it's Christmas?
Africa.
Right.
It's
Right.
Christmas.
Thank you.
How
Oh,
about you,
good
Mr.
one.
Perkins?
Yeah,
Do
what?
you have any kind of
he works.
tradition?
No, I mean, yeah. I work, I hang out, I spend it with the Chavezes if I have the chance.
Okay.
The Christmas I don't get. I'm not
Yeah.
a big one.
Okay.
It's not as low on the list as Easter, but it's close.
Well, and my thing is that it's people obviously make it a religious holiday. When I was young, I mean, being Jesus' birth and all, but when I was young, it was definitely the holiday religiously. Then as I grew up, it became more about family. You know, it was just more about being together,
Yeah,
family,
sure.
and then friends.
We
really
We had our
transitioned
own
into
war
that.
on Christmas in our house because my mom wanted it to be about the Jesus and she wanted to go to church, but everyone else wanted the visiting with family
Right.
And
And
presents.
drinking.
and all that
Having
stuff.
cocktails
So she
and-
would just drink to forget the fact that we were only going to church once because she
Right.
would have gone back every hour for
Right.
another song.
Well, and the candlelight service on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Always a real big
We
deal.
see,
for my
we do
mom.
that.
That's my favorite
I
thing,
love it.
and my
It's
sisters
beautiful.
won't go, so they're like, why?
Oh.
I'm like, that was my favorite part. Why would I come back if you're not going to do
What I like,
I
yeah.
really don't care about gifts. I'm not a
Right,
gift person.
right.
I don't get gifts. And then, I don't understand them. I don't know
Sure.
what we're doing. If I want something, I'm going to buy it. If you
Right.
want something, buy it yourself. Leave me alone.
It's so
I
funny
like
because
that. If I
Kelly-
see something that reminds me of something, I'm totally getting it.
Kelly if Kelly
mind.
wants something, she buys it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
she still wants me to buy her stuff for Christmas.
There's nothing left.
And she literally wants me to have she didn't really do Christmas big as a kid.
Right.
So she loves it now. But I'm like, you buy yourself everything that you want.
Right.
I just don't
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Put it under the tree and wrap it.
Exactly.
There you go. Well, it's interesting being with Aaron now because, we have like a half, if we're going with religion, half Christian, half Jewish situation. So we have Chinese food on Christmas Day.
That's my New Year's Day tradition.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that sounds delicious. But on
Yes.
Christmas last year, that was something, and I thought, what the hell are we doing? Like, I don't understand this. And apparently that's a big Jewish
It is.
thing.
Oh, you guys! Now I brought it up last year. I will do it again.
Yeah.
Darlene Love, big singer. She sings. She's in 20 Feet from Stardom. She's in all these movies that you've never. She sings all these songs that you just don't know it's Darlene Love. But she does on Saturday Night Live a couple years ago. They did a skit called "The Jews Love Christmas" because of all they can get in bar fights and win, and there's no lines anywhere. Everything, you know what I mean? Everything they like to do is open, and so it's
funny.
really funny. But that is where that comes from. Is that Chinese restaurants are open, so Jewish people want to go. It's not a holiday
Not
for
a
them.
holiday, right.
They want to go out to dinner. Who else is not celebrating? The Buddhists.
Right.
So let's go for Chinese food.
There was a letter.
But I'm a Chinese on New Year's Day girl.
Yeah, and see, I'm a
That's
Chinese on any day. I
Oh, I am too.
love any
But
time.
on New Year's
yeah.
Day, I want China. I want to go to
Okay.
Chinese food.
Well, this is apparently a thing, and I just wasn't privy. And so there was a note out from the Chinese Restaurant Association of the United States. And apparently this was something quite a while ago that came out, and it just resurfaces. It says, we would like to extend our thanks to Jewish people. We do not completely understand your dietary customs, but we are proud and grateful that your God insists you eat our food on Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
And that is why they're open.
Yeah.
For the Jews.
Absolutely.
Christmas.
I thought it
it's
was
called
hysterical.
Christmas Time for the Jews. It's an SNL Robert Smigel cartoon. The guy that does he does all the Robert Smigel used to, before they did the video shorts. Robert Smigel was their
okay.
Where the dog tears it away. They started off with a cartoon about
Saturday
Nixon.
Night Live, they wrote the holiday
Robert
song.
Smigel. I can't think of what they're called, what his cartoons are called. But it is brilliant, and Darlene Love sings it. It's a great song.
That's
It's
what
a
it is. That's what
really
it is
funny
then.
video.
Okay.
They can drive around with the windows down and listen to Barbra Streisand, and no one judges them.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Love
there's no
it.
one on the streets.
No one's paying attention.
When you
I love
Google
it.
Chinese food Christmas, the first thing that comes up is Judaism 101.
Yeah.
What do Jews do on Christmas?
Sam,
So I can't believe you made it
love
this long without knowing that.
Well,
That's
I just
funny.
never, and being a faux Jew growing up, I mean, just, it is what it is.
and then
but,
a Christmas
but
story
I never paid
famously,
attention.
when
You're
the dog
Jew-
eats the turkey.
Exactly.
In a Christmas story, when the dog eats the turkey.
I hate that movie.
Oh my God, it's the funniest fucking movie
No,
ever.
Braun Pfeiffer thinks it's funniest fucking movie ever, and
I'm with you on that.
fuck that.
I don't think it's funny either.
I don't think it's
Oh,
funny.
Kelly,
I don't
we
think
have-
it's
we watched
anything
it at my
about-
house 'cause
You
Kelly loves
didn't
it.
like the Cosbys, so
And
we
I
can
thought the
have this
Cosbys was
one.
great.
It's
And my family brought you
God,
up,
give us
and
that
everyone
one.
was pissed. Literally, you came up in a family discussion at dinner, and people were angry.
Totes-Boney,
Yeah.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
God, really?
That how could
funny.
you not like the Cosby
How?
Show?
It just wasn't funny.
People
But-
were
racist.
mad.
But I mean, seriously, the whole thing about the father swearing,
Yeah.
and when the kid says "fuck," and they're like, "Where did you learn that word?" And all the neighbors are on the phone about where did he learn that word. He's like, "I didn't know how to tell them that my father had been weaving a tapestry of profanity that still hangs somewhere over the Great Lakes." And the father that won't call anybody, and he goes down to fix the furnace himself, and all you hear in the basement is like,
Fuck
God, my father would absolutely never call someone to fix something, and he's down there like destroying their furnace, and
That's
the dog eats
funny.
the turkey, and they end up at.
God, I need to
How could
rewatch
you
that.
not
It's
find
been a
that funny
while.
when they end up
I
at the
do like
Chinese
it.
restaurant? They sing "Far
It'll be on.
It's funny with you, but you're not in the movie.
Seriously.
We should watch it with you.
Replay the fucking movie. You just do it, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
otherwise, fuck that kid.
Oh my God! And then when he.
Oh, wow, you really hate him that
Oh,
much.
God, I hate it.
I
'cause
mean,
of
he's
Braun
just
Pfeiffer.
a boy.
Oh my God! And then when he did it, and then he went beyond. He went past the traditional double dog dare and went to I double dog dare you.
I triple
And
dog
just-
dare
Yeah, I
you.
triple dog dare you.
Yeah, that's what Braun used to always say to me.
Etiquette was broached. I mean, it's just. It's just.
Again, I'm with you, Clayton. If he does
It's
it,
funny if you
fine.
do it.
Oh
But
my God! It's one of the
That goddamn movie comes on TV, and I'm like, it's
I'd
kind of
switch.
like the ASPCA commercials, which, by the way, fuck off
Yeah.
with them right now with
Oh.
Silent Love.
Oh,
It's
they
really
finally
bad.
gave Sarah McLachlan a day off.
Oh, no, No, I think she's the one singing
Oh,
Silent
she
Night.
probably is. For
But
50 cents a day, you can make her stop singing.
I swear to God,
I'll
she
send
only
her
writes songs when she
$1.
murders puppies.
But I dive at the TV every time. It's
really
anyway, please.
Let's move on with this. Well, let's go down to
I'm
Texas.
appalled because I mean that was seriously my childhood. Every single part of that was my childhood.
So was
I can't
Cosby
put
Show.
my arms down. Put your arms down when you get to school. Because I was like, I was seriously like packed up like a tick. I can't put my arms down. I can't get up. I can't get up.
See, again,
That was
we'll do
me.
a live rendition with Al.
My mother
and
would
I
put
might
me in a
enjoy
snowmobile
it.
suit in August because it might dip below 60. So I spent my whole life in a snowmobile suit, walking around like the Michelin tire man. So when that little kid and she's trying to put his arms down and his arms fly up from all the sweaters he's got on, you can put your arms down when you get to school. I mean, that was so my mother. Like, just go. Get out of my face.
See, it's funny with you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I'm telling you, I go home and I see that on TV and I'll be like, "Meh."
Yeah, I'm doing it.
It's just because it's been shoved in your throat, but that really
Ralphie.
is.
Fuck Ralphie.
That
That's
movie
it.
is funny
Ugh.
from beginning to end. And when he talks
It's
about
funny
all
at the end.
all the favorite parts, the flavors of soap, because they keep washing his mouth out with soap. Well, Dove has a piquant after dinner taste, but I really prefer Ivory. It's 99% pure.
I'm gonna make him put on a live
He's sitting there
Christmas
with
play
his
for
soap
us.
on his mouth.
No. I don't even remember.
Oh my God.
I hated it.
You didn't.
I
You
may
just
have,
haven't watched it.
I may have to sit with him and suffer
I
through it to
also-
get that. I don't know.
I own it because I seriously, that is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Kelly really likes it too, but
Yeah.
I feel like you make it
Fuck.
funnier.
Yeah.
I think you have to grow up
Yeah,
in
because I've
absolute
actually
hell.
laughed at it.
Al makes everything funnier.
Yeah.
It's like everything's better with Blue Bonnet on it. Everything's better with Al talking about it.
I've been compared to margarine. It's a low point in my life.
Zamboni.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Fine, sir.
a South Texas man faces an aggravated robbery charge after being accused of ordering several tacos, then pulling a sword and refusing to pay for them. An affidavit says that a 28-year-old man named Adam Kramer began sliding his sword out of a sheath and threatened the waitress at a Mexican restaurant in San Antonio. Authorities say Kramer walked out of the restaurant without the food and went to his truck while yelling, "Either he gets free tacos or somebody's gonna die!" Investigators say the waitress locked the door after the San Antonio man drove away. Law officers arrested Kramer the next day. Bond was set at $50,000. Bexar County jail records did not list Kramer as still in custody on Tuesday or provide details of an attorney.
How
Tacos
about
are
that?
dead.
Tacos are dead!
Yeah.
Tacos are dead!
Fantastic. Well, this one may get some people riled. I don't know, but homelessness is hooey, according to the New York Post. Now, I don't know if you guys saw any of this. There was the New York Times had done a few articles on homelessness in New York City. And what they had done was, it was about the children that the liberal New York Times was being slammed by the Post because of this feature. And in it, it was a 5-part article, and they they were talking about the New York City as a nightmare for an estimated 22,000 homeless children. And they went through this whole thing. The Invisible Child is
Just
Oh,
go
what
see
it
a
was
Broadway
called.
show. It'll pick you right up.
There you go. There you go. You can pretend like it's not
It's about like
happening.
$130 and you're warm for 3 hours.
It talks about this one gal. Her name is Dasani, similar to the water, I believe. Zamboni. Yeah, Zamboni.
99% pure.
I think so. And it goes through the whole
after
thing
dinner
about mold creeping into where they live, and the roaches swarm, and feces and vomit plug communal toilets, and sexual predators, and it goes through, and it's a
charming
pretty,
story.
Pretty
This is a
in-depth-
Christmas story?
Right, no. It was about.
You'll put your eye out.
I know. Right.
With all that feces and vomit.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Post says that it makes New York City seem like it doesn't care about people. The conservative-leaning paper went on. If you read it closely, it suggests just the opposite. What they're trying to say when they read this, because this is about public housing and how the public housing that's provided
Sucks.
is what I just read.
Yeah.
And it says, the Post says, true, they live in housing meant for quote-unquote homeless families, but their 540-square-foot unit gives them a solid roof over their heads in addition to city-provided meals and services. So it was a completely separate view, Fox and CNN kind of thing. And
Yeah, sure, their food is moldy and their places
and their
are
sexual predators
full of
running
roaches
rampant,
and
but-
shit. But
Yeah.
they have a place and they are eating.
But the people that
food.
aren't homeless live in those same situations next to a predator with cockroaches and their toilets don't flush. So
For
6
this,
to 1.
For this family,
You wanted to live in New York
shelter,
City.
Rental assistance
Enjoy
and
it.
food stamps alone for just this family, the Post is saying, added up to nearly $500,000 since 2000. In addition, Medicaid covers health care. It says, yes, this family's housing has problems, but the Times and this Elliot, who did the articles, like much of the liberal establishment, seem to think it's the city's job to provide comfortable lives to outrageously irresponsible parents. In this case, that's a couple with a long history of drug problems and difficulty holding jobs. The Post added, if the city is at fault here, it might be for having been too generous,
Oh.
providing so much that neither the father nor the mother seem to be inclined to provide for their kids. That would be the story worth reading, they said.
No, all I
mean,
want them to
really.
do is I want them to do
Live
the
there.
Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight Rises thing.
Okay.
I want the people on Fox News and Marco Rubio and the Cruz fucker.
Ted Cruz,
I
right.
want them to sit on the banks of the Hudson or the East River. You can take your pick. I'm not really picky about the
Mm.
locale. And just watch the children starve to death and die. Just cheer it on because it's what you're asking for.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you're doing. So I want them to actually not make it a metaphor. Just put the kids out there and watch them die, and then tell us how happy you are that the government didn't help them.
Well, because it's been
Please.
$500,000 just for this family.
Right.
Since 2000 for the last 13
Right.
years.
But hey, we can invade Smitty's big town. That's what pisses me off. Then watch them die, and don't just do it from your comfortable little office in your healthcare in Washington.
Right.
But go sit.
I feel like
front
if
row
at
and
some
do
point
it.
we can circle back to this at a later date, because I have a lot of opinions on it,
Yeah.
which I won't
Well,
share
and-
now
and
because
the
it's
thing is
8:49.
that-
Yeah.
But I have a lot of opinions on
Well, write
if
that-
at some point.
Write that down.
And,
We'll get to it.
and we can certainly, this is something more, I don't know if it's thoughtful, whatever, not for tonight, obviously, but the Post says, yes, the family's housing has problems, including mice and reports of sexual assaults and other crimes. But
Oh,
the Times,
But
I mean,
again,
that's where-
because remember,
but that's
Republicans
where-
don't believe in rape.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
women are definitely wanting to get fucked
Legitimate
all
rape.
the time by anybody.
Legitimate rape.
Legitimate.
They
you
want to get
always-
fucked by anybody all the time.
Yeah,
I am
anytime
always
you're raped
open.
is clearly your fault.
Yeah. They had a ton of tweets.
Because you're a woman. You just want to have sex all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you were. That's what God
Right,
made you
exactly.
for.
That-
God made you to get fucked and have babies.
Absolutely. So, needless to say, but that's how it comes across. I mean,
Yeah.
it really does.
Oh, it
So-
really does.
But
honestly.
I thought that was a really kind of intense thing. That's all.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you have another one after that or no?
I have others.
You
but we
always
don't
have a
need
ton
to.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Let me do this last one because we are
We are
And then
so
we'll
wow.
go. I know. I
Right.
am. Maybe more.
Now, going into government and their intervention into everything, sometimes they really just go too far. And you just flew this weekend, and I don't know how invasive in their lives the TSA was to you.
Well, they threw away some beer. I forgot that I had in my
Oh,
bag.
you forgot.
That was bullshit.
Conveniently, she forgot she had that. Well, let's go up to the lovely Northwest, Seattle, Washington. A cowboy sock monkey and his tiny pistol. There's no laughing matter for the TSA. Absolutely not. A Redmond, Washington woman says that a TSA agent seized a replica weapon as she passed through the St. Louis airport. Oh, I'm sorry. She's from Seattle. This was actually in St. Louis. My bad. Phyllis May told KING-TV that she was appalled and shocked and embarrassed about a December 3rd incident. Mary's a businesswoman, and she actually makes and sells sock monkey dolls.
Sure.
Like you do. She says that she was on her way back to Washington State when a TSA agent went through her bag and found the monkey, who was dressed as a cowboy and had a little tiny 2-inch long replica pistol in the holster.
Oh my God.
The TSA agent told May that he would have to confiscate the tiny gun.
Jesus.
Then TSA issued a statement Monday saying that under, quote, long-standing aircraft security policy and out of an abundance of caution, realistic replicas of firearms are prohibited in carry-on bags.
2-inch piece of wood.
2-inch piece of probably even plastic, I'm going to guess.
But they're about to approve knives.
Which still
Right,
make,
right,
again,
right.
they're- that's coming back around?
No, that died. But
Oh,
this-
thank
After
God.
the,
That
yeah,
was
the TSA
it.
per-
they
driver was
thought
shot.
about it.
But they
yeah.
thought
Take
about it.
nunchucks on the plane. But
That's
not,
stupid.
Yeah.
That just makes no sense that they were thinking about it. And I like how
Horseradish pretzels. I just got to tell you, they're
By the
fucking
way,
They aren't those
It's-
good?
that-
Remember,
yeah.
I brought those as a
That's the stuff of
appetizer
God.
because they were horseradish.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
they
good.
are, and they're good. And I occasionally
good.
walk through my kitchen and I snag one
It
here and there,
is
and I have it.
good.
Yes, they're lovely as hell.
That's
Oh.
ridiculous.
No, I think that's yeah.
It is. I
Really?
mean-
What are they gonna do?
Unbelievable.
What are you going to do with my 5 ounces of moisturizer?
Yeah, thank you. Right.
Rub one off in the back with your playing with a pistol? I don't
Probably.
know.
Only
I don't
if
want to
we
hear about
have
what you do
your
in the living room.
recliner.
Yeah. It is not that kind of show.
Jesus. All right. It
This
is
is a family Zamboni.
You got to be at least as tall to ride this Zamboni.
Oh, yes. Well, can we get to, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. Here we go with Al Entertainment.
The Sound of Music airs on NBC and gets the highest ratings of any show in about a decade. It may or may not have killed Eleanor Parker. Boston, LA, New York Film Critics Awards are all out. National Board of Review gives her noms. AFI Movies of the Year are out. SeaWorld's pissing off everybody. Maria
Yes.
Bello comes out. Rosemary's Baby become a miniseries. An American Horror Story is what we're left with about The Walking Dead, and it's spectacular.
All right. Al Perkins and Entertainment. Zamboni.
All right, so we'll start for Tyler with American Horror Story, which is just turned into this wonderful place for like actresses of any age to just come together and just fucking shine.
And it is so off the wall and but so fun. Like we've discussed it before. First season, really truly scary. Now it's just so campy and amazing and fun.
It's
and
appointment television. Now.
It's awesome.
Like, it really,
Appointment television.
it is. Like, you really can't miss
No,
it.
it's really good.
I really can't work on Wednesday nights anymore because I just need to sit down and enjoy it. And her name is escaping me, so you have to Google her. She was Ruth on 6 Feet Under. She's Myrtle on this. And I'm horrified that her name is not coming to me. I thought for sure it would by now. Anyways, she is, I think her character's name is Myrtle with the red hair.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Who's
Glad
back from
she
the
came
dead.
back.
And
Yeah.
everybody's back from the dead. And this last week's episode,
Frances Conroy.
Frances Conroy, Emmy Award winning for 6 Feet Under. And she's just a delicious part of every season. Last season, she was the Angel of Death. The first season, she was the older version of the Hot Maid.
I forgot about her from the first season.
Yeah, she is just spectacular. And, she was so fun talking about the witches in Salem in the 1600s traveling from the south to the north.
The carriages.
And there, can you imagine without charcuterie and a bidet? Yeah. Just delightful.
Bidet.
It has really turned into what we should all be doing is just getting some drinks together and watching an hour of American Horror Story.
It is so fun.
You literally clap. There's parts of it where I actually applaud. I can't lie to you. I actually find the dialogue so much fun. And I love watching all these
so
actresses. Because we talked last week about, there's that I didn't bring it. I meant to bring it in. I saved it. But in Entertainment Weekly, they grade shows based on how they do with women. And it was all the movies of this last year. And you needed 2 female characters to have a conversation that wasn't about a man to get a grade. And the only movies they could give passing grades to were Frozen.
Okay.
Oh my
God. Not Enough Said, because all they do is talk about James Gandolfini. It was Frozen, and they had to give it to Gravity, because at least she's talking
I
to
remember you saying
herself.
that.
Herself about a daughter.
Yeah, she's talking about her daughter. So just how low they score. So American Horror Story would be like out of the park, because this is all women.
It's all women talking about awesome stuff.
The male roles are barely there.
Okay.
I mean, barely there. You'd be hard-pressed to remember that there was a male
really
character.
is all women.
And even Evan Peters, who's the sexy fucker, who they make a bad boy every year, and every year I want to have sex with him. And
He's so weird. He's like barely a character.
Oh, I know. And the very small character, so I'm hoping he pays off because I need him to pay off in case I get in my recliner with lotion.
I don't remember him having a recliner.
I buy one.
For
that guy.
We're going furniture shopping.
So you just, I mean, if you're not watching American Horror Story, start from the beginning. It's on Netflix. It's available. And the first season's really scary. The second season disturbing. And this season is just the payoff to Ryan Murphy.
It's like fun.
I swear to God, Ryan Murphy and I could quite possibly be the same person because he calls all his favorite actresses, and sometimes they call him, and they're like, I just want to play with you. And he tells them, and he tells Jessica Lange every year, what do you want to play? Like, what have you never done before?
Oh, yeah, I remember
in your
you saying
whole
that.
career, what is it you've never done?
I was shocked when I thought she was going to maybe go away for a second.
But everybody, even if they kill you off in that show, you come back to life the next week with a Stevie Nicks song.
The next week, like 10 minutes later.
10 minutes
Stevie Nicks
later,
song.
Stevie Nicks sings your song. So it's just been so good. And Tyler was asking about
I
that.
love that girl who plays the Swamp Witch, too.
Oh, yeah.
She's
That's
so awesome.
Jill Clayburgh's daughter. I've been talking about her
Yep.
forever.
She's so good.
She is the one to watch. When this show ends and she goes on to other stuff, that's a big,
And Vic
big career.
Verigma Ferreira, whatever. That
Yeah.
one girl's little sister.
You're so close on all the I will not correct you. Thank you. That's closer than I get with her name.
Zamboni.
Zamboni. The Sound of Music aired on Sunday, and I have something to say about that. So I'll take up my last 3 minutes on this. Sound of Music.
No, last 3 minutes. No, you have more time.
Right. But I'll
this hour.
I'll block it up. I watched the Atomic Clock.
Okay, good.
So, Sound of Music. It is a really borderline not that great of a musical. that was turned into one of the greatest movies. And there's only like 3 that I could think of that were not that great of plays or musicals, but really good movies. And I came up with Grease, The Sound of Music, and Cabaret, as where they took a really so-so musical and added some songs, took away some songs, did some character development, really improved the script, and came up with fantastic movies. And The Sound of Music is one of them.
Okay.
So The Sound of Music, it does not matter if
I
you
love
can
the
act.
movie.
Yes, right. And they're 2 different animals.
Right.
Because the wrong people sing the wrong songs, and there's a book of a musical, which is how you get from song to song. It's called the book.
Okay.
So that whenever I say the book, I don't mean it's based on a novel. I mean the book of the musical.
Right.
Shit. And that first act is a clunker. And I have seen it on stage. I saw it with Rebecca Luker on Broadway. Fabulous singer. She, too, was an iffy actress. But the first act, you're like, oh, my God. Just go back to the songs.
Except that Julie Andrews is not an iffy actress.
Right. Again, because they changed every single thing. The difference between the stage play and the movie are completely different. They eliminate songs. They eliminate characters.
Climb Every Mountain. My mom was devastated that Climb Every Mountain wasn't in.
Yes, it was. It's in both.
Then it's a different song.
Climb Every Mountain.
Look it up.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Something she was really sad about.
I Have Confidence wasn't in there. That was written specifically for it. The Wrong Person Sings My Favorite Things. The Lonely Goat Herd is
My Favorite
strangely
Things
staged.
was weird, yeah.
Yeah, because why are you... And sorry, I have to use the word. We're going to go back to 1960. But it makes it sound like Maria's mildly retarded. Why are you singing this song to an adult woman?
First time you've ever used it correctly.
Yeah.
Zamboni. I'm going to give him props where props are due.
Okay, so go ahead to break and I'll finish on the other side.
If you'd like to hear more about Al talking about The Sound of Music, either in film or in live play form, please join us in about 45 seconds when we come back to continue on with Al's entertainment section. Katie June's got some sports and more stuff coming up. Also, our final segment each and every Tuesday night is called Thoughtful Vulgarity, where Al comes up with a question where we have to think about how would you feel in a certain situation or how would you react. It's lovely, it's charming, and we're all half in the bag, so who fucking cares? We've got this and one more show left in this entire year, so join us. We'll be back in just moments right here on Q Talk America for Hour 3.
You've been listening to The Show on Q Talk America. This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. This show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Oh, good evening. It's the beginning of Hour 3. It's a Tuesday night. You're in Studio C. Live with us. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. I am your humble host. Thank you for joining us. I'm here alongside Katie June, Marnie Ryer, and Al Perkins as we do each. Whoops, hang on. Let me turn... Wave again to your respected cameras. I didn't take us out of our slide, but now we're good. All the ships at sea are listening, and all kinds of countries are listening, and I love it every time. Japan, the U.S., and some country comes up as unknown. I don't know who it is. Europe, Israel, Malaysia, all listening right now live. Thank you
And I
very
love
much.
that It's very Sarah Palin to call Europe a country.
No, but
I know. It's not you.
It just comes up as Europe, but it has a question mark, so I don't know what.
What about Donnie? I thought Donnie was supposed to be
Japan.
on.
Well, Japan is there, but I don't know what's up.
I think he gets back next week, but he's out of the
Is
chat room
he,
either.
wait, but
Okay.
is he going to be with us?
Yeah, he's going to San Diego and then allegedly here.
And he's going to come here.
So he might be here next Tuesday for
Yeah.
the
That'd
show.
great.
Otherwise, because
That's it.
next week is our final show of
And
the
it
year.
might be after the start of the year unless he goes back or whatever.
I will send him a message. He's
My
going to San
God.
Diego, and I think aren't they
I
doing
hope
a show?
he's here. That'd
No,
be
I
fun.
keep dropping
We
them
are-
out of my mouth.
We're taking, for those of you who haven't heard, we're taking Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve off. This year they happen to fall on a Tuesday, so we are going to take time off. The first time we've stopped production on this show ever in all the time we've been on, so
Because even Barbara Walters takes a day off.
occasionally. So we're going to do that for the 2 weeks, but we'll be back for another year in 14, of course. We were in the middle of Al talking about The Sound of Music in live stage form and in film, so Al, continue on. would
So
you?
just briefly a little, because there's been a lot of shit talk. I don't think anyone, and I said today to someone that was complaining, I think if Meryl Streep was handed the first act of that musical, she'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's just so, the book is so, you just jump from scenario to scenario without any logic. The second act gets a little better. And my favorite part was when, I have a friend in New York who was offended that Audra McDonald was black because there was no black people in Austria. And I'm like, well, that was pretty much what Hitler was after too.
Wow.
So I was just horrified by that.
Zamboner.
That a friend of yours was upset about.
Yeah.
Because she was great.
Oh, she was the best. I mean,
She literally was the best thing in the whole
And he doesn't even like her.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I know, and I
But
love
she
her.
can act and she can sing because she sings that in most Rodgers and Hammerstein show. We'll do a little inside baseball. Are written for the 3 levels of soprano. There's usually an alto soprano, coloratura, and a mezzo soprano. And Julie Andrews is a mezzo soprano, but she probably could do coloratura. But that is what Audra McDonald did. So if you're telling gays like me that you're going to put on what is an iffy musical at best, and almost everyone that's a fan of the movie has gone to a theater and seen the musical and been like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Is she slow? Why are you singing my favorite things to an adult woman? That makes no sense. Why are you telling her about rainbows and ponies? She's 20. Is she touched? It makes no sense. So clearly somebody saw it and said,
This is a bad idea.
This is a bad idea. So
love it.
how you're going to get the gays in is you're going to say, and Audra McDonald will sing Climb Every Mountain, which is an annoying song because it's very hard to sing. It is it's a beautiful, straight up coloratura piece. And she sang the fuck out of it.
Okay.
And Carrie Underwood's best piece of acting was watching Audra McDonald sing that and weeping while she sang it like, Jesus Christ, you're talented. It wasn't that she was going to go climb every mountain. She's just thinking, fuck damn,
yeah.
this bitch is for real.
You're good.
But so they did it well. The staging was fantastic, and they did it all in one NASA hangar. And they kept saying that this hangar was owned by NASA. They built shuttle parts here, so they just transitioned. And there's some commercials for costume changes, but any transitions that they did, they would just open a door, and you would go from the foyer to the outside, and then a door opened, and you were back in the Abbey. And I was like, that shit's good.
Wow.
And like
okay.
the hillside that they built, they actually were able to roll down a hill because the set was so huge. So you really felt, I mean, it wasn't Austria, clearly.
Okay.
But they rolled down a hill. I'm like, that is pretty impressive that on a set you built that.
I must have been drunk at that point. But
No, it's right in the beginning. Oh, no, it's not. It's 16 going on 17 that they rolled down the hill.
It's right when it started.
We're talking about Katie. She could be drunk at any time.
Anytime,
is true.
exactly.
It's true.
So,
also,
but
she was in Nantucket.
But she could not
exactly.
Let me just say, Carrie
that's
Underwood.
what, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm there.
Different story had I been on my own couch watching the own show.
She would have been drunk 15
Carrie
minutes.
Underwood could not convincingly scream for water if her hair was on fire.
She was
I just
horrible.
want to make that clear.
She was really bad.
Wow.
And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. Bad script, wacky script,
But
whatever.
more importantly, what they do in The Sound of Music is they just wear you out with catchy song after catchy song.
And I love the songs, and she sings like a dream.
And that's all you need for The Sound of Music. It's The Sound of Music.
It's
not
the sound of music.
It really is. Because if they had hired someone like they did in most musicals back in the 50s and 60s, where they got you an actress that would have to be dubbed. You know what I mean? No one in musicals is really singing. Audrey Hepburn is not singing in My Fair Lady.
Right.
No one in West Side Story is really singing.
What?
Right, no one. It's all dubbed.
Really?
Yeah, Marnie Nixon does all the voices.
In the movie?
The King and I, yes. None of these people can sing. They would get you an actress, and then no one could sing. So it doesn't matter with The Sound of Music.
Yeah,
Right.
lipped.
All done.
All lipped.
The only thing, Rita Moreno
Yeah, Rita Moreno.
is
She's not a
mostly
singer.
singing. She
Yeah.
mostly sings. The problem
I heard
is
her story in NPR.
one of the songs goes too low for her. So it had to be dubbed because it was just too low. Her register is way too high.
Oh.
And A Boy Like That Will Kill Your Brother is too low.
Oh, I like that
so
one.
she was only dubbed in certain parts. She will say that.
I
'Cause she's the only
just-
dubbed act. Oh, no, that was two.
It
There's
was-
two.
It was just now.
But it's the songs over and over again.
The
They get
songs
you
were
with the
great.
right, and that's all.
Her acting was just painful.
Right, and if you're there for the acting of The Sound of Music, go watch the movie because that play is terrible.
Right.
She walks in with a guitar. What's a song? It's a song. Are you all slow?
Also, I was drinking and gossiping about all the girls on Nantucket Island and all the boys.
Right.
And the one of the girls that I loved the most on the vacation, she already hated it going in. So she's like, I hate that we're watching this. So I mean, I was slightly influenced.
Right.
But I
They're
just
gonna
thought
replay
that
it. But the most important thing is
I
it
love
was.
Carrie Underwood. I think she's the worst actress alive.
Oh yeah, she is. But it's again, if you
Right.
had a good actress that couldn't sing, you'd be left with someone doing
Then
a
you'd be
horrible
bummed
disservice
about the music, yeah.
to like 9 of the most beautiful songs ever sung. They're lovely.
The other thing that I hated
lovely
is that
songs.
Carrie Underwood's comeback on Twitter was about Jesus. suck it.
Well, no, because how often can you
Well
listen to
done.
shit like that where people are just hating on you? Like,
No,
at some
that's
point,
very
I thought
hard.
well done, and that's who she
Right.
is.
I am
thought,
up for her
done.
comeback, but
Right.
mean people need Jesus. I felt like her comeback needed to be a little bit.
But if
Yeah,
all-
but basically what she said is, mean people, fuck off.
yeah, she really did. She just
Because
did
how
it
do
in
you
the-
come back with Jesus? Like, what
Right.
are you gonna say?
And honest to God,
His birthday's
I
coming
just
up.
thought lambasting this woman for if you've ever go see it on stage and you will be like, oh my God.
and I haven't. I've only ever seen the movie, and I
they're
love
not
Julie Andrews.
It's like if you go see the movie if you go to the stage, and not now because they fixed Cabaret. They've put it back on Broadway 3 times, and they've eventually just admitted that the play sucked. If you ever go see someone put on the original production of Cabaret, Sally Bowles is a minor character. And it's really about the woman that owns the boarding house. And she sings a song about a fucking pineapple. And then she sings another song about a mouse. And you're like, there's no abortion. There's no maybe this time. There's no mine hair.
You hate it.
All this. No, but like all the songs that you
just
know as
right.
Cabaret, if you've seen the movie, are not in there. So this one, of course you would sing My Favorite Things to Children Who Are Scared of a Thunderstorm. It makes more sense. The Lonely Goat Herd, which is probably the
Which
only
is a
thing.
Cute
The
song.
only song that the Von Trapp family probably would have ever sang. They were a folk group who would have sang songs that had a
That's
little bit of a
cute.
story
Yeah.
about mountain people. That one actually fits. But if you're listening to it, why is she singing it? Like, how did she just come up with the Lonely Goat Herd? But in a puppet show, it makes more sense. So anyways, highest ratings ever. NBC's kind of like, fuck you, we get it, you don't like Carrie Underwood, whatever. But it got a
We
lot.
do.
Yeah, it got 18 million viewers, which is more viewers than NBC has had literally.
Since the Cosby Show.
Almost. No,
Zamboni.
they were not that high. The Cosby Show got way more ratings. But there was an
Because it was good.
there was an episode of Frasier that got higher ratings,
Okay.
and this beat the finale of ER.
Wow.
Huge.
That's
Wow.
intense.
They beat The Walking Dead. This is the first
What?
non-sports thing to beat The Walking Dead
Wow.
since The Walking Dead started. So think about that. So anyways, they're back.
That's
okay.
very
So
good.
there we go. So I just wanted to get off on that because I just stop hating on people. The girl can sing. It's a
She
singer's
can.
part. She sang it lovely. And those sets, watch it again, and you'll be
I
amazed.
actually I did not watch any
Yeah,
of
we
it. I
have
just have
DVD.
been hearing a little
they're
bit.
replaying it one more
Right.
time, and it'll probably become
An annual.
a holiday thing.
Right.
But those sets, when they move that hangar, that Nassau hangar around, and that set becomes the Abbey, you're like, oh my sweet Jesus.
I'll have-
loved
I
it.
will.
Rick, you
I
remember
would've-
Rick Redding?
I would have gone
Yeah.
to commercial.
Now, he had something on Facebook and it said, "I still love you, Carrie Underwood."
Yeah,
and it was
and
kind
it
of
really,
like,
and because absolutely
good,
very
but-
few people have ever seen it. The musical is from the 50s or maybe 1960. It's very
Okay.
old.
you
So,
like
anyways,
that?
Thank you.
So.
Share it.
Now, Hart has joined the group of Willie Nelson and their
Yes.
naked ladies to say they will not perform at SeaWorld.
Zam
Oh,
fucking
good.
Boney. Yes.
Willie Nelson canceled, and the reps for SeaWorld said it was a scheduling problem.
love that.
But Willie Nelson came back and said,
No, it's
oh, fuck no.
No, it's not.
It's about the documentary.
Yeah.
He was so
I love
offended
that.
that they were trying to put a spin on that he put down the joint and said, I'll take the microphone.
Stand by.
So very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
that's great.
Rosemary's Baby, which, again, now I'm talking about a real book, not
Yeah.
the book of a musical,
Yeah.
but Rosemary's Baby is a fantastic book by Ira Levin,
Uh-huh.
who wrote great plays, but he also wrote some books. Rosemary's Baby will become a mini-series next season, I think, for NBC, and the writers from American Horror Story, I have not Googled it to find out which ones, but they're taking on Rosemary's Baby, and an epic tale, and again, one of the greatest movies
Yeah,
ever made.
absolutely.
So they're going to
I
take
even
that
own
on.
that one now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's exactly what I heard today on the news. You're
Maria
right, NBC.
Bello comes out as a lesbian,
Yeah.
which kind of surprising. Maybe she just wants a little attention. I think her day in the sun is
Not
over.
if you watched her on TNT, the show that she had.
Yeah, and I could.
Oh, Kelly loved that show.
I did too. And for whatever reason, we DVR'd that every week, and now I can't.
Yeah,
she was,
watched it all the time.
And I can't think of it
witness
either.
Hold,
protection.
please.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't
she
think
was
of
a
it either.
witness protection.
So we'll
person.
start our award shows quickly. So
fantastic.
the AFI, American Film Institute, did their top 10 movies of the year. They don't name a best. They want everyone to feel the sense of just you all did a great job. Here's our top 10. They picked 12 Years a Slave, American Hustle, which pisses me off because not out yet. I've seen so many movies and
Wait,
I'm so
about
ready for the
what?
Oscars. American Hustle,
Oh,
which comes
yeah.
out this Friday and is taking the Critics Awards by storm.
Prime suspect.
Prime Suspect, yes. Yes, it was the remake of the British one with Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of shitty compared to the Helen Mirren one. Captain Phillips, Fruitvale Station, which is the one with Octavia Spencer and Doug Wilkie. Our critic in residence has said that he thinks Fruitvale Station is going to steal some of 12 Years a Slave's
I thought you meant the actors in it with Octavia Spencer and our own Doug Wilkie. I'm like, I don't think he was in that movie.
I'm just trying to hurry along. But so Doug is saying
Third
that
white guy from the left.
Yeah, he thinks Fruitvale Station is going to be the movie of that list of the Butler of 12 Years a Slave.
Really?
He thinks that's the one.
That's the one.
Because he thinks it's the more enjoyable watch. And from what I read, they were the first ones to send out screeners to Academy members. So more people have probably seen Fruitvale Station than the other ones.
Okay.
Gravity makes it. Her with Joaquin Phoenix. Inside Llewyn Davis. Again, the movie that they keep advertising, but just fucking release it. Nebraska, Saving Mr. Banks comes out. Nebraska was so good.
I remember, yeah.
And then the one that has shocked everyone, official reviews cannot be written until December 17th. They have a moratorium, but it is now screened for all of the groups. And The Wolf of Wall Street, according to everyone, is so over
Leonardo
the top.
DiCaprio, right?
Yeah, so over the top fantastic that they're saying this is the spoiler coming into the season.
Okay.
And they have a moratorium on
Scorsese.
reviews until December 17th.
Okay.
But the
And
critics
why is that?
They just want it to be released. They want because they're not doing a platform opening. They're not doing like 3 cities, then 5 cities, then 10. They're not relying on word of mouth. They know how good the movie is. They want to open with like stellar reviews,
So that
on
everybody
Christmas
goes to
Day,
see it
and
on
everybody
the
wants-
exact
yeah.
same time.
And Leonardo DiCaprio keeps getting everything right. So who are you gonna argue
Well,
with?
I'm going to go to it.
Yeah, no,
So,
yeah,
I'm in.
And Saving Mr. Banks is getting
When should I go
great
on
reviews.
Christmas? Oh, I want to see that too.
Yeah,
I feel like you would hate that
Christmas
because
Day is
it's
overcrowded.
Disney.
No, it looks fantastic.
It looks
though.
good.
It
Which
looks
one?
really
I'm
good.
sorry.
Saving Mr. Banks.
Saving Mr. Banks.
It's about Disney and Mary Poppins. And
Okay, so then the LA film critics came out, and Gravity and Her tied for Best Picture.
what the fuck is her?
Her is with Joaquin Phoenix, and where he falls in love with his iPhone. He falls in love with Siri.
Right, got it.
And they've been holding this back. I think it played at the Vienna Film Festival and got a lot of things, and they've been just pushing it. It's another one. You've been advertising
it's really going to be
this.
that good?
Yes.
I haven't.
Spike Jones, who did
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm back on board. Spike Jones got it.
Spike Jones.
I'm confusing her with the movie that Jason Gordon-Levitt did.
That's Don Juan.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like to me.
When you
Don
just
John.
Don John. I've not heard of this her.
Her,
but I know
Joaquin
that
Phoenix
not
falling
out
in love
yet,
with
yeah.
Siri. He falls in love with the computer program
that runs like his house.
that
Oh.
runs his life. And it's Scarlett Johansson, which is why you'd be confused, because it's her in both roles. But
Okay.
She's
Okay.
playing that. Amy Adams, I guess, has another spectacular run.
She's
So now-
buy one get 8 free.
Yeah, and this is Mark. Somewhere,
everything.
somehow, Amy Adams is going to walk away with an Oscar this year.
I like her, so
I
I'm on board.
But I won't put money on that because I think I have my picks already for actor and actress.
Oh
So,
my god, I can't wait for your Oscar party.
so Kate
I'm gonna try not to
Blanchett,
get so drunk.
again, was picked by the LA film Kate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine. She is your winner. There's no one else going to win that Oscar. It would be the biggest upset for many years.
Really?
Blue Jasmine was phenomenal. Jared Leto wins for Dallas Buyers Club, but shares the award with James Franco in Spring Breakers, where he wears the cornrows and the braces. Bruce
That's
Dern,
going to be an Oscar winner?
no. The Critics Awards, they don't get them right, but they just want you to make sure you've seen it. This is kind of your guide to like, we want to make sure that
Because Spring
something
Breakers.
Right.
But I remember it was different than it looked like it was
yeah.
going to be.
But the Critics Awards a lot of times are just to tell you, here's a little gem hidden in the rough that maybe you missed.
you might have missed it,
So
right?
they know that Oprah Winfrey. Everyone
kind
knows
of- there
Oprah
is an
Winfrey does not need attention.
Kind of an Al Perkins.
Yeah. So
Great.
they just kind of shine some light on something like Mud that you haven't seen yet. Go see Mud. So Best Actor went to Bruce Dern for Nebraska,
wow.
and I can't find supporting actress on this, but best. Okay, both of them, both LA critics gave Lupita Nyong for 12 Years a Slave. So that's it. So
I wish
tomorrow,
I could just like get on board with these, with like watching more movies.
Yeah.
I want to see all of
takes,
these.
it
But
takes a lot of
when
free time.
do I?
But then you get pissed off because then I have been seeing everything. Last year I saw almost nothing, but I just was right online in the Academy,
Right.
picked everything I'd seen.
Right.
This year,
You've been
everything
good.
is coming out Christmas Day, so I can't get on board with you nominating Her and The Wolf of Wall Street and Saving Mr. Banks and American Hustle because they haven't been released
Right.
here.
Are you
So
going to
I
go see
can't-
some? What are you going to see on Christmas Day?
I have to work. I'm on call the whole week. My whole week's shot. So the day after Christmas or whatever that Friday is, my first plan is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, so I feel like I want to go see a movie with you
Yeah,
at some point in my
I'm
life.
good with that one. But I would go see Saving Mr. Banks because I think I'm going to love the shit out of that because that looks
too.
spectacular. So that's pretty much it for everything. Tomorrow morning is the SAG Award nominations. And then
Big day.
Thursday morning is the Golden Globe nominations. So those are much closer pictures of what the Oscars will actually hold.
Do you remember when in the movie Team America,
Oh, yeah.
when they did the Film Actors Guild nominations, they were the FAG nominations. So instead of the Screen Actors Guild, it was the Film Actors Guild.
Guild.
And on the bottom, it's like Film Actors Guild, FAG.
Yeah, that movie
And
was
Matt Damon stood
so
up and-
goddamn funny.
Amazing.
So let me just make sure my list because I think that's it. Everything just fell into those award shows things. I'm done. Oh yeah, because the last thing is my question.
Okay, you got the question. The only couple things I want to bring up, and it's amazing that it's been this long. Do you realize that this past Sunday, December 8th, was the 33rd anniversary of the death of John Lennon?
Yes, I like-
That's
yeah.
insane to think that it's been that long. I mean, wow. I
Oh
remember
my God. That means he died when I was born.
he died.
Why when's your birthday?
Yeah,
I'm 33.
September
Oh
of
yeah.
80.
yeah.
Oh.
Same with Jesus.
1980.
Right.
Same story with Jesus.
Me and Jesus and
So
John Lennon.
there was that, which
Something happening around
I just realized. I'm like, wow, that's amazing that passed and that's big. And I didn't realize that. I heard this, and obviously you know Al because you know everything to do with things like this. I didn't realize that he was. There was no funeral. He was cremated, and his ashes are spread in Central Park
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
it's Strawberry
that.
Fields.
at Strawberry Fields. I didn't
Oh my
realize
gosh.
that.
I had no
right across
idea.
from the Dakota, there's the
Yeah.
Strawberry Fields
I didn't.
Memorial.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they'd done that.
I
'cause
love that.
Now,
Okay.
And he had met him an hour before, like not an hour before, but he had met him earlier in the night. He had signed an autograph for him, and he had already
right.
seen, like they had already met each other. David Parker Chapman,
John
about that?
David
Yeah.
Chapman.
something
John
like. Is it John David?
I believe so.
that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
That now the other thing I will just say,
Mark
just,
David Chapman.
Mark David Chapman.
just
you
to
are
throw
correct.
this into the entertainment thing, I was as I do every Friday, work at Charlie's, and I'm there and just hanging out after my portion of the show was over. And I saw a friend of mine, and he was with this lovely little short black gal, and we were just chatting and talking and carrying on, and we started talking about music a lot. And I just would mention this person and that person, and it was a lot of older, I'd say old school. It was, we're going back to DeBarge, and we're going back to Tony Braxton's first album, and Anita Baker's first album, and then Oleta Adams comes up, and Jason looks at me, and I'm like, you know a lot of older music. And my friend Jason, he says, well, do you know who she is? And I'm like, well, no. I'm like, I'd been talking to her long. I'm like, who the hell are you? He goes, my name is Reese Benson. She's the second singer for Rose Royce.
Oh, yeah.
She also has sung backup for Anita Baker, Oleta Adams.
Okay, that was the Anita
all
Baker
these.
piece.
She is according to her, she's the niece of George Benson.
Oh.
Of
That would make sense. And I can't remember. Does she sing lead on "Love Don't Live Here Anymore"? Is that her
that I don't know, but I did find.
or "Car Wash"?
No,
Because
no.
one sings "Car Wash," one sings "Love Don't Live Here Anymore."
Car Wash was before her, so she joined the group after Car Wash was released.
Oh, that might be "Love Don't Live Here Anymore."
But
great song.
her other song was something "Your Love's the Best" or something. Because I actually found a video of her on some show in '81, '82.
Yeah,
singing.
she might be past.
Looks exactly the same. I mean, the
Yeah.
outfit's a little different, but I mean, that face is unmistakably hers. It's the same girl.
And
so
if
it's-
she can drop down and give you "Love Don't Live Here Anymore," then
she's
hire her.
and she's doing a show locally. She's actually doing a show at Casino Arizona in Showstoppers, and
I love it.
just what I saw of her, she's got a hell of a voice.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
you can sing with Rose Royce.
Yeah.
Because they get shit for "Car Wash."
Right, but they have a
You
lot
really wanna
more.
listen to Love
They
Don't
have a
Live
lot
Here
more to do. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting that my
very cool.
paths crossed this gal, and she was really fun, really nice.
Oh, cool.
And because my initial question was because I happened to suffer through the BET Awards that were aired last week just because I wanted to get to the Dionne Warwick tribute, which my mom had
okay.
texted me about, which oddly were held at the Orleans Casino
Okay.
in Vegas, where I just was.
Oh, how funny.
So we were talking about that, and I asked her what her opinion was on Tamar Braxton, which, for those of you who don't know, Tony Braxton's younger sister is Tamar Braxton. I said, what do you think about her? I don't know anything about her music. They were all up for her. She won a lot of awards, but I'm like, I think she's kind of a bitch. And she got around to it being, I don't really care for Tamar Braxton. Because she's kind of this younger, she deserves everything. She thinks she's the shit person. And I kind of got the same feeling from her just watching her on BET.
Sure.
Yeah, I've heard people go,
Shadow?
I'm Tamar Braxton, don't talk to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of how, that's the feel I
I'm
got.
Tamar Braxton, bitch, don't look at me.
I just
Like
didn't
that kind
care
of
for
thing.
her at all.
Which I think is hilarious.
At all.
Yeah.
And I was also upset about not upset, that's a stronger word, the tribute to Dionne Warwick. I mean, okay, if you don't know who Dionne Warwick is, you need to do some research and figure out that she is huge in the music industry, and her writers and her, Burt Bacharach, Al David, all these people who backed her up all these years and did all this stuff, amazing music that's out there. There was a girl, and I'm only going to assume, because I didn't get a name, I recorded it though, so I can go back and find it. They had all these people singing for her tribute. Gladys Knight was part of it. There were a couple other people. Ruben Studdard sang House Is Not a Home with somebody else that was phenomenal.
Oh my God, I love that song.
But
and it's a Dionne Warwick song.
There was
only know it from Glee.
Written for her.
There was a girl that stood up and started singing, and she read every single word. And it bothers me. If you're going to stand up and do a tribute to somebody,
know the song.
Please know who you're singing about, who it is, and something that they've done. But in her defense, it may have been she was so nervous about doing it. She wanted to make sure she didn't miss a word. But still, I'm like,
what song did she sing?
I honestly forgot what it was. But we can watch it later if you want to.
But the best song ever written for her is Anyone Who Had a Heart. And if anyone ever remakes it, listen to it. It's one of the most beautiful songs. In the first year of American Idol, when they got to the Burt Bacharach Hal David week, and they gave Kelly Clarkson Anyone Who Had a Heart, and she chickened out, and she said she just didn't get the song. She just didn't understand it, and she went with Walk On By or something. And at the end of it, they were criticizing her, and they're like, you really missed the assignment. She's like, I get it. I should have sang Anyone Who Had a Heart. She's like, I've been listening to it all day. I finally got it.
And I realized what I did wrong.
And she almost got booted because she missed. And Dionne Warwick just sells the shit out of Anyone Who Had a Heart.
I love it. Okay.
Anyone who had a heart could look at me and know that I love you. Like anyone who has a heart. All
deaf,
you need
dumb,
is a
blind
heart
people
and you would know that I love you. Beautifully written
Maybe
song.
that should be my new theme song. Katie, are you ready? Are you ready to go?
You know it.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, it's Katie June. Let me hit the right button. Boom.
And this week in sports and another thing.
Sports.
Another stuff. Gronkowski's sad for the Patriots. Season is over, but maybe his career. We'll never know with all of the NFL head injuries that continue to happen. Gay athlete Jason Collins, Martina Navratilova. You know the one. Urged Olympic support at the UN, and some other stuff.
In sports and other stuff.
So, I looked this one up because I was, of course, in Massachusetts over the weekend, and so it wouldn't be Massachusetts if the husband of the house was not watching, or at least someone in the house happened to be the husband, wasn't watching the Patriots game.
Or any other team from that region, because they're all good.
Yes. So, I actually, and I'm not a big football person, and I just really want to be. It's just not in my cards, I don't think. But I will tell you, and I was laughing because my friend Katie, who I was staying with, her husband Jake, they were wonderful. He was watching sports throughout the weekend, and you'd hear yells coming from the other room. And so it wasn't until I was actually watching the Patriots game with him, and I let out a giant yell that I went, where did that come from? When I watched Rob Gronkowski get hit as he was catching. He had just caught. He's a wide receiver. He had just caught a pass and was starting to run in, and he was very close to the end zone. And it was the Bengals.
They were playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns. The Browns. Cleveland Browns.
A really sucky team, yeah.
And one of the Cleveland Browns.
They're playing good.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Like,
one of the defensive linemen came and hit him right in the fucking knee. And you could just, I watched it happen.
Is that the one that broke his ACL?
Oh, it was so bad, yes. And it was really
just sounds
bad.
Horrible.
And he fell on the ground, and, it's like that time stops. Everyone on the field knows,
and everybody
sympathizes.
And the entire big thing that the big arm waving
everybody
from
was
America
freaked out.
That is New England.
Every football player was like, because that could be a career-ending
and it's
injury.
Because
and he sat the first 6 to 7 weeks of this season out with shoulder and back injuries.
That's right.
He's only played a handful of games,
and they're all good.
And he was
really
kicking ass. And
Tom Brady's only as good as he is.
That is exactly what they're saying. And Tom Brady's already been out there calling for his team to step it up, and we're going to need you guys. They won the game by 1 point.
Yeah.
And
they won the last one because of that pair They won
Gronk,
they won the Monday night
The
game
Gronk.
2 weeks ago.
The Gronk, yeah.
Oh, he's an amazing player.
And the
He really
fact
is.
that it just like hurt my heart for him to watch that, and then when he was being carted, because he could not
And it
move.
was a home game, right?
That
I
I
don't
don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't either
don't
because they're both
remember.
outdoor stadiums, so I really didn't know
Yeah.
which one it was. But
don't.
But either way, I'm sure the crowd was appreciative. I didn't.
Oh my God, yeah. No,
Yeah.
everybody in the crowd, kind of stood there silenced, and everybody was really respectful. As he was being carted off in the golf cart, you could hear him. Ooh, so sad. And I tried to actually find the audio, but I couldn't find it online.
A clean enough audio.
Yeah. He was like, I can't move my knee. They were like, can you do this? He's like, I fucking can. I mean, he was like cussing, and he's like, I can't move. And he was trying to just like be strong on the cart.
Yeah.
But he was like,
In
you could hear.
right.
Yeah. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
So horrible.
big
My
It's a heartbreaking sport though.
my high school boyfriend was a really promising football player until he was playing street ball with his buddies on a weekend.
That's usually how people get
and
fucked
tore
up.
his ACL and went back as a center to snap the ball because he couldn't do anything else. And he went back too early even to do that. He got hit again, tore the ACL again, and he was totally out. I mean, just like for life. Yeah. Really, really
That makes me sad.
sad.
know.
Anyway,
Your ACLs are more precious than gold.
yeah, which makes me think about, which just made me kind of then look a little bit more into
More
football.
precious than cheddar horseradish pretzels.
Which are precious. That is, we've learned that this evening.
Precious.
Which are just, it's so awful. And I don't know if we've talked about this before. Like, if you have a son, would you put him in football or daughter for that matter? Like, women or girls are playing football. And they're saying that illegal hits to the head are still prevalent despite rule changes.
Oh, yeah.
And there is, I don't know
Some of
that
it's
there's.
it's just plain old accidental.
Well, I mean, rule changes. Like, how much can you change a rule? You're hitting people. It's like a full
but the old
contact.
lead, the old lead with your head part is now done.
Yeah,
if
but-
you intentionally lead with your head, you can't do that anymore. But
But if you intentionally lead with your head, you still lead with your head, and you're still going to get hurt.
Sometimes you're both looking for the ball. You're both turned the wrong way. You're running one way. You're looking the other. You turn, and all of a sudden you just.
And
There are some that aren't meant.
Right,
but
right, right.
Then you have people. There was your mom would probably know who I'm talking about. He was a safety for the.
Was it for the Saints?
Nope. Oh no. Broncos. And he was an ass. Like fuck you. You're gonna try to tell me I can't do something? I'm gonna do it harder. And I don't know. He was the type that seemed like steroids would be involved. You know what I mean? Because he was so like, I'll hit you harder.
Is
in
this
the head.
recent?
No, he was. He would be like a big name with him though, and I can't for the life of me. Think
Yeah,
who
I
it
know.
is.
I know who you mean. But then the
Or
Saints.
Tim Brown, like there's with the Raiders.
Yeah,
there are a
and the
lot
Saints
of,
were the whole thing where the team was doing illegal hits whenever they could get away with it, just to injure the
just
other
to
team.
do it.
and they
yeah.
were getting paid. Like
Yeah, they were getting
And
paid
they're
bonuses
still
if they hurt
getting,
somebody.
they're getting infractions or in trouble or whatever, but they're getting
they're
paid
like,
extra.
whatever.
Yeah, they don't
But
care.
I think we talked about it when Buddy was with us. He's since deceased.
from the show.
I just saw it last Sunday.
That they were saying that the reason that football will eventually phase out is not because people will stop loving football, but parents will stop putting their children into
Oh yeah,
football.
oh yeah.
They'll
Well, and
run out
that's-
of players.
They'll run out of players.
Well, and that's what this whole thing is about. Like,
Or they'll all look like you.
It's just-
put your arms down.
Put
but
your
you're
arms-
like, yeah.
but it's just talking about like, despite rules changes, it is what it is. But the teams still want to win, and the players still want to win, and they're still going to do whatever they can to win and to win.
And you make money. It's just like Jerry Maguire when Cuba Gooding Jr. finally gets the game on national TV and he has the big play.
Yeah.
You don't make money till you get a nationally like
Till
the Browns,
you are a big deal.
The Browns
you
don't get on TV.
You personally
That's right.
need to make yourself a
Right.
big deal,
That's
right.
and whether that's injured or not, you don't care at that
Right,
moment.
and if you're not going to make it onto the big game, then you have to be part of the highlight reel. So the whole thing with Jerry Maguire, if you remember, is that they were getting the Cardinals were getting a
right.
Monday
Monday
night
night.
game, which is very rare, and they were very realistic that the Cardinals are never going to get a Monday
Not
night
gonna
spot.
happen.
Yeah.
But he had a big play,
Right.
so that's how he started getting
Yeah.
endorsement deals. Was because now, so you have to make it to the highlight reel.
Yeah.
You have to make it.
Well, and it's just really sad that
It's all entertainment, by the way.
that the AP is just, but it's big money entertainment.
Oh, big money.
That the AP is just, has again recently released a study that head injuries are more prevalent than ever, and I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wonder, like, if I had a son, ain't no. He's gonna play soccer. He's gonna play baseball.
But soccer is second.
Soccer's
Well, it
you're
is with
heading
the
a
headers
ball.
and the whole thing. And actually, I think we talked about this before, that cheerleading, even in girls, and is really dangerous.
But soccer, because they're running and they're not
Absolutely.
looking, headbutts all the time.
All the time.
and headers and
Or play
fall
goalie and-
collisions.
Mia-
Chess. He could
Mia
play
Hamm?
chess if you want to get him into
or
a...
play goal. Yeah, Mia Hamm.
Is it Mia Hamm?
I think I'm going to put him on the stage.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the
Exactly.
theater.
Abby
Sometimes
Wambach.
you dance.
Abby Wambach and Mia Hamm. I mean, as far as
Hotties.
soccer,
Also hotties.
Yeah, but
not
they're also
Abby Wambach.
But Mia Hamm.
They're
I
also-
will
Cook
disagree.
Mia
I'm not
Hamm.
going to disagree with
They
that, but I will with
they
Abby
wound up on the
Wambach.
spectrum due to head injury.
Right.
Well, like I said, when I played
Ooh,
soccer, I
Susan
dove
Boyle.
right into
Susan Boyle. Just said,
Asperger's.
she said she has Asperger's.
Wait, hold please. That may or may not be in other news. Other stuff. So, gay athletes Jason Collins and Martina Navratilova.
Well
I
done.
actually do know how to say
I
it.
know.
It was just a little too fast. So, they're really urging Olympic support at the UN, and they're basically saying support gay athletes at special events for the International Human Rights Day. The two openly gay athletes appeared at the UN on Tuesday, along with other human rights activists. This year's events and comments are largely focused around the upcoming Winter Olympics in Sochi, where, of course, they're banning homosexual quote-unquote propaganda. And it's obviously drawn a lot of condemnation from the international circles and from the Human Rights Campaign here
But
locally.
not from the IOC.
Right.
But
The
not
IOC
from the IOC.
remains strangely silent.
Yep.
But we do have folks that are saying, we have gay athletes in America that are saying, support your athletes. You know, they're saying, look, like, this is Russia's bad, and it's what we've talked about before, but now we just have some openly gay, high-profile athletes coming out and saying it. Support your athletes. Let's turn our bans, right, our quote-unquote bans, to other places. Let's do it to Coca-Cola. Let's do it to NBC.
Right,
Let's do it
that's
to
what
other
I say.
places.
Tape it, watch it on an 8-day delay.
And they want
Make sure they don't get their 7-day numbers.
It's
on
really
us.
true. They want their, but it's just interesting to hear from the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
What
and
they
now
would have us, what their preference is. So I feel like we have to support our gay athletes.
And Putin is saying they may be releasing quite a few political prisoners from jail this week.
The girls from Pussy Riot.
And Pussy
I think,
Riot may be amongst them.
Well,
so they're saying
it's
that
about time.
they may exile them, but why would you want to stay in Russia? They may exile them, but that they may do it in the spirit of they don't want the you always have to think about your image,
Right.
And you don't want to be known as the country that is no one wants to go
Right.
to, because tourism remains a large,
and
especially for the gays, because we're back to having discretionary income again.
And there are even one of the ambassador to the UN. Her name happens to be Samantha Power. She called the Russian law as outrageous as it is dangerous, but also recognized that there are 78 countries that participate in the Olympics that have laws that criminalize consensual sex same sex between adults. And so it's like all of these people are just saying, don't punish our athletes.
Right.
For this, and
Because
it could be in Russia, or it could be in any of these other 78 countries, and these other 78 countries are going to be at the Olympics. Like,
Right.
let's just take which is very hard, because you want to use this, and especially the gay community wants to use this as an opportunity to further create awareness around.
But the other thing is,
the
we
gay
weren't
movement,
all that
but-
up in arms about China,
Right.
who has a horrible human rights record.
Absolutely. Well, they
And
kicked all those people out of where they put the Olympic, the fields and everything, and they're like, "You all need to move."
Yeah.
And they just
Right, so
No,
it
well,
is
so pretty
you don't
bad.
It
You
is
don't matter.
really hypocritical of
So
us.
it's like,
to question Sochi when we were all on board for
China. And everybody was super excited for Beijing. Like, everybody was really excited. So let's just. They were super excited. So let's just.
Yes, they were.
That was brought up last week about how you
Both people interviewed described themselves
Abreve.
as soups.
a brief.
With a Zamboni.
a brief. Yeah.
Abreve.
Lots of abreves.
That's fantastic.
With a Zamba.
Pony.
So here's something fun. Yeah. Here's something really fun. The Baseball Hall of Fame. Guess who was just let in?
Me.
Joe Torre, Tony La Russa, and Bobby Cox. Baseball's winningest managers over the past 4 decades were unanimously elected to the Hall of Fame on Monday by the Expansion Era Committee. All three won more than 2,000 games and were selected on all 16 ballots when the committee met on Sunday ahead of baseball's winter meetings. Managing against them, you certainly learned things, said Torrey, now an executive vice president for the MLB. I'm honored to go into the Hall of Fame with these two guys. So then they talk a little bit about induction ceremonies and some of their records, but that just happened. So we're excited for those three baseball managers.
Yeah, that is a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Very big deal.
You may have discussed this last week, and I believe that you did based on the Facebook page. But the Tom Daly, we all know his name now. He's very famous, right?
Still want to fuck him. Nope. Someone goosed me.
Zamboni.
Wow.
And he's a hottie. And so is his boyfriend, Dustin Lance Black. I mean, they are both really
So
good
he likes
looking
old
guys.
yeah.
And this is not the article, but I did read another article that by Michael Signilatori.
Sure.
Starts with an S.
It's
Probably
your-
Italian.
it's your-
Italian. I was going
I'm
to go to
actually
Italian.
surprised you don't know him. I thought you would be able to correct me on that because he's a big time gay blogger. And he's an older dude, but he basically said, "Who the fuck cares? Leave these guys alone. They're both of age. Like they're gay. They're of age.
And when they break up, he's gonna come to me.
So what that they have an age difference? Like." Who the fuck cares? And he kind of named some other well-known couples that are, big age differences.
May December romances.
Including
What's her name with Harrison
Joaquin
Ford?
Phoenix right now
Oh,
with
yeah.
a 19-year-old, for
Callista
God's
Flockhart.
sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's...
Oh, that's right.
Joaquin,
Yeah.
But Joaquin Phoenix is also dating a 19-year-old right
Yeah.
now. So that's super weird. Who also happens to be a DJ from Arizona. So...
Yeah.
Little hometown connection.
Keep your eye out for her.
Interesting.
But
Well, and
regardless,
not as big of a spread, no pun intended. But you had Demi Moore and
Ashton
Kutcher.
That was only like 13 years.
Right, no, I'm saying,
But still,
no,
but it's-
but
yeah.
it was
Oh, I
it's
thought it was
the
a
older
whole lot
younger.
more than that.
No, because they make women in their 40s sound like they're on the verge of death.
No,
She
no,
was
no,
40, he was 29. They're like 11 years apart. Google it, but I think they're 11 years apart.
Oh,
I'm
I
on
did.
board for that time spread.
well,
Yeah.
I am just on board for this couple. I feel like I'm really super excited for them, for Tom Daly and Dustin Lance Black, and I wish them the best of
I want
luck.
to watch one of them fuck.
Oh,
While the other one
Well,
is...
the other,
Well, the other-
the other one, or you want to watch
Wow.
one of the fuck themselves?
Wow.
Whatever. I just want to see
Zamboni.
him with
I'm
the,
slightly uncomfortable.
with
That's
the
all.
with the
Fuck a pie,
the little
a
hanky,
pillow.
the little hanky that he wears his clothing 90% of the time. Let's see him with that on.
Yeah, no, they are both like super cute. Okay, so and
I'm only
in
mad at Lance 'cause
other
he got there
random
first.
news, to the surprise of no one, Susan Boyle
Has a
has been
mental
diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome.
exactly.
Says
That she is the war on Christmas.
it's a relief. Is what
She's
she
the
says.
war on Christmas.
Have you heard that Christmas album?
No, I
It
haven't.
is the worst thing that's happened to Jesus since the cross.
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there.
She said that she finally feels relief for having been diagnosed with the right label for her condition, which is so funny because like just everybody knew she had something wrong
Oh,
with
yeah.
her.
Yeah, there's
And now finally it's been diagnosed as Asperger's syndrome. Now I have a clearer understanding of what's wrong and I feel relieved and a bit more relaxed about myself. I have always known that something was wrong.
halfway through that
believe
Christmas
it.
album, you're like, there's a lot wrong with this lady. She takes all the joy out of it. Like,
Yeah.
when you listen to that, you're like, oh, I thought this was a happy story.
Yeah, but not with her. But anyway, so just kind of funny.
So does it become, oh, little town of Bethlehem.
Holy night.
Oh, holy
Oh,
night.
for holy
The
night.
stars are brightly shining. That's too much excitement.
It's cold outside.
Someone turn on the
Baby.
light.
Baby.
But wait, here
It's
is
cold
something
outside.
that's really sweet. She says,
There are 12 days of Christmas.
I
Lend
would
me your
say
comb.
I have a lot of relationship difficulties, communication difficulties, which have led to frustration. If people were just a little more patient, that would help. And that sort of makes you just kind of
I know,
feel
but I'm
for
going to
a
be
little bit.
dead soon before she gets a Christmas album right. So let's say that.
Anyway, so she has
Soon.
Asperger's.
Yep.
And that is it for
Sports
and
stuff.
And now, thoughtful vulgarity, where we, in the studio, try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel and have them try to answer it while fucked up drunk. Because you know at home how well it goes when an important question comes up 90 minutes after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? You're fucked up. What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? You've been warned. Good luck.
So if you hunt around on Facebook this week, and I'm pretty sure it's current. I don't think this is like the Salvation Army thing that was really like 4 years ago in Australia, but they whip it out every Christmas that the Australian Salvation Army hates gays. But this one I think is fairly recent. And it's an interview with Jane Fonda done by the woman that wrote the Vagina monologues. Her name is Eve something or other.
Vagina.
Yeah, Eve Vagina. Eve Zamboni Vagina. Scriptress of the Vagina monologues. But they're doing like a symposium over the course of the week on women's issues and women's studies. And they do, for the first day is a very candid interview with Jane Fonda. And then they, Eve, whose name escapes me, Vagina, that's her middle name, whose name escapes me. She says to Jane Fonda, you have the next 2 minutes, 90 seconds. You can say whatever you want. Like, if you've already said it before, if it's something you're just passionate about, like, what is it that you think needs to be said? And she said, we're going to spend a lot of time the next few days about girls and raising girls. But what needs to be addressed is how are we raising our sons?
I did see this.
What are we not telling our sons? So that would be my question. Like, if you were going to raise a boy right now in these really troubled times of, like, there's all these people that are, like, claiming there's no such thing as rape, and people, like, filming rapes and, like, then acting like it was the girl's fault, and as soon as you get drunk, you deserve everything you get. What message would you impart to a boy child? Like, how would you go about talking to him? Marnie Rare.
That's twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can really?
That's twice.
I thought,
I
the
like
name, I
it.
thought the last name was wrong that time.
No, that's well. You did well. I don't know that it would be about times changing. You know,
Oh,
as
no,
far
no,
as
no,
no, but I mean, like, as far as what I would have said 20 years ago as opposed to today, respect yourself and respect those around you, no matter who it is. But I think starting with respect yourself, because with the rape and everything else, if in going with what you just said, I think that would be a really big thing.
But is that too much? Is that too much respect for yourself that you feel that you deserve more than? I just throw that out there. I have no idea. I just made that up. But
no, I don't think so. I mean, if you give, and again, this is having not actually birthed anything, maybe that's why. But you know, I go from that standpoint that it was, you know, yeah, I think if you teach little folks respect. Mm-hmm. And that you keep that going as they're growing up, not to be arrogant, not to be anything else, but just respectful, that hopefully that would cross off some issues.
Okay.
Not all of them, certainly, but some of them.
Kathy?
You had to get one name wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Kathy Jane.
Well, he hasn't got to me yet.
It was
so-
going too well.
Yeah.
Kathy Jane, go ahead.
Kathy Jane.
Kathy Jane.
Thank you.
I'd like to make you a little more generic.
Thank you.
How do you feel about Kathy Jane? Yes.
Kate Smith. Can we talk to you, please?
I would totally agree with you. And I really think that you teach, I don't know, like I would say, like as a mother, you tell, I mean, as a father, surely very similar things, but like as a mother, you would say to boys, I guess you just teach them to respect your mother and to respect women, and
Right.
this is your
Absolutely.
mother. Like, and I would hope that families, men and women, would talk about how important a mother and a father, but really like a mother is. And I don't get boys that are raping people, or men for that matter, but especially boys, because
It's a
they
new
have
trend
moms.
in videotaping it. Like
Yeah.
they want proof that they did it. They're not
No.
in the
Yeah.
dark
and
anymore.
and like they have moms and they have sisters, and you know, I guess just I don't know, when you were talking, I was thinking in my head, oh well, education is important, but no, this is like Ivy League prep school dickheads that are raping chicks and videotaping
Yeah,
it.
they're
Because they've
educated
been
people, yeah.
the arrogance of it. Yeah.
I
But
think
how
it's,
many, if I may, the idea of moms, there are some really shitty moms out there.
no, and so I was actually
So that becomes difficult.
with a friend, one of my friend
Yeah.
this weekend, who is a very, very lovely woman and incredibly open-minded and super supportive of me and and Kelly and our family, and really great, but also was raised a very strict Catholic and intends to raise her. She has an 8-month-old boy, and her husband's not very religious, but she intends to raise her family strict Catholic is what she's like. I want my, we were talking about how to raise your kids, and she said, I want my children to have a healthy fear of me. And I was like, God, yes, that's
then,
what.
And I'll interrupt, but in a patriarchal model that values men over women, and the Catholic Church seriously devalues women.
It's so
because they all take a vow of poverty, but the Pope lives in a castle, and the nuns live in the New York City public housing.
Right, but it's actually really funny that this woman.
It's true. It's the honest to God truth.
But it's funny that, and yes, that is true of kind of the greater, overall Catholicism. But like this friend of mine, her family is
but if she's
matriarchal.
if she's going for a matriarchal model, then I'm all for it.
And her family is.
Yeah.
There is the mom and the dad. Her mom is the fucking law of the land, and there are 5 girls and 1 boy in the family.
Yeah.
And Katie she dominates her husband and her family already, not in a bad way, and not in a bad way, but she is the leader of that household. And I just look at her and I'm like, you are the shit.
Yeah.
Like she just runs shit. And she's her son will be respectful of women.
Yeah.
And she's going to fucking make sure of it. You better believe it. And
right.
I just watched her and I'm like, it's awesome. And so I came home today and I started being like way more strict with Palmer because I was like, God, Katie, you're such a good mom. But it's really, I think, just teaching respect, but demanding.
Yeah. And knowing, and I think
with healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
A little tiny bit in a situation like yours, which is, slightly unconventional. But not really.
Right.
Just slightly.
Modern family.
But I think you have to put down, I'm the parent, you're the child, and you have to start when they're 2 years old.
It's the other thing that
we're going to like each other, and then for a period we're really not going to like each other. But
is
mostly I will be the parent.
The other thing that my friend and I talked about, and because, I was saying, sometimes I really don't want to play with Palmer. I'm not a big player. Like, I don't want to always get on the floor.
Well, she's not really able to drink at this point in her life.
She's like 19 years away from playing
She's not
time.
10 yet.
But and it's funny though because I literally look at my mom and I play with margaritas and that's really fun and I can't do that with her.
Mommy's playtime is different.
Is there anything more special than a mother and child in a blender?
But my friend said to me, my friend Katie, again, I love her so much. She goes, well, you're not her playmate.
Yeah.
You shouldn't feel bad. Like, yes, of course you play and you interact with your children. And obviously I love Palmer to death and I hang with her a lot. But, she's like, you're not her playmate. You're her parent. And it reminded me of my parents saying to me, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I'm your parent. So respect me. And it did. And I turned out okay.
And I never heard this from my parents. But
I never raped anybody.
Yeah. But it's
I think she's soups adorbs.
Yes, soups adorbs.
Zamboni.
Yeah.
Boney.
Totes-Boney. That's so Totes-Boney.
It's Totes-Boney.
Totes-Boney.
That's fantastic. Totes-Boney. She would know how
Is that Chaz's brother?
She would know how to abbreviate better than we did. You know what I mean? 3 tries, she wins. I had never heard it from my parents, and I would like to say that either of my parents were this wise, but I heard it once from someone that said, I'm not going to like you for a really long time, but I love you.
Yeah.
Sure. And I thought that it's just brilliant to tell your child when they're in the pain in the ass phase that I had admitted.
Oh, I was really bad.
4 years a terrorist.
I feel like Marnie was for sure.
I'm still there.
Yeah.
And I feel like Clayton was a really good helper around the farm.
Oh.
Yeah, you were like a good boy. You were a good boy.
Well, I also knew. Are you done with your point? I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no, but I'm just
God
saying
forbid
that,
we interrupt you on this show.
Fuck you. But Totes-Boney. No, I think I would just offer that up as something to think about. I think it's a brilliant phrase. Like I don't like
agree.
you for a really long time, but I do love you.
I love you so much.
My mom was my best friend then and now, and I can tell you that I'm fucked up. So you take that for what? No, but the demand part I always find interesting, and I think it was because there wasn't enough demanded with me, and I'm sure that's the reason that I kind of recoil. when I hear that, because I think if you're dominant, like super dominant or domineering,
Yeah.
and you're demanding, and
Well, there's a nice balance.
the
I think,
healthy
Yeah.
balance. And when you
Healthy
said
balance.
boundaries, that's when I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because up until then, someone comes up and they're like, and you will respect
Yeah.
me. Hello, Joan Crawford.
No.
And I will-
Right? I mean, that's kind of the picture I get.
I will just finish one point before I pass the baton to you. Is that towards the end of my mom's life, she was saying something, and she's like, "I didn't raise children like you." I'm like, "Yes, you did.
You raised
Like,
me.
you are a controlling, close to the vest, not demonstrative, to the point person. So you can't turn around and expect us to be all like." The kid singing Edelweiss to you. Like,
Right.
you're not going to get the Sound of Music children out of us. You
Right.
raised us as, like, cold, emotional robots who get from one crisis to the other. We cry a little privately, and then we move the
Little
fuck
vodka
on.
and move on. Yeah.
So
We have
if
a
you
whiskey sour that you taught us how to
Right,
make.
if
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're delicious. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, when you're in your 70s, if you want to hug and kiss phase, you got to go get more kids because the ones you raised, you never
No.
taught us that.
Right, no.
That's very funny.
Very interesting. And I get that.
Yeah,
So
go
I
ahead.
apologize.
A couple of things. One, hi Canada, welcome to the show.
Hey.
In regards to
It's necessary. You have to say it.
Oh, they know what a Zamboni is.
Totes-Boney. Your brand name. Chaz-Boney.
No.
Bono, whatever.
That's what's called without a penis.
To your
Before and after.
Katie, to your point in regards to the way I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
I went into the role of man of the house at a very early age because my parents were divorced in 1975 when I was 5, so I went immediately. I'm sure there were a couple of years I wasn't sure what I was doing, but then at some point I really took on that role on everything, regardless of
With the
whoever was around.
Younger siblings, you two have younger siblings.
Right, and-
have younger siblings.
Right, and that was a mess because he and my mom went head to head constantly.
Yeah.
And I was always not really the mediator, but I was always
Cleaned it up.
right. And I'm like making sure that all the shit that he had done since we got home from school to when she was going to get home from work was cleaned up, so that when she walked in, she wasn't walking into hell. So I did a lot of that
You were
stuff.
such a good boy.
And I was trying to mediate, and then I was fixing this and doing that and all that crap. So to your point, yes, I did a lot of that when I was younger, and I still do that now. Now going to that point, and I've talked to my mom about this, and I still do. I mentor some people around the world. Here, Carlos was
that a metaphor?
No, not at all. No, Carlos was a
That sounds
Carlos
like
was.
hand lotion. I'm just wondering.
Carlos was one example of this, and I don't recall if you know the full Carlos story, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, I'll give you
But
that
so
one.
there was that, and now and then there's Michelangelo now, who I still coach, and he and I've had many serious conversations about different things, and I'm not putting words in his mouth. He's told me that I have been a lot of guidance for him in the years I've known him because he grew up without a father. Fortunately, I met his father in San Diego this past summer, which was amazing to see them interact for the first time ever.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And for you to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Big time. It's
and
big.
welcomed into it. And I even had a conversation with his father. I'm like, look, I am not trying to take your place. It's just I was there and you haven't been. And he's like, you're right, I wasn't. So that was a very interesting kind of
Yeah.
deal. But the one when you ask the question in regards to if you're raising a son now, and I don't think it's necessarily pigeonholed to just a son. I think it's, and I sound like an old man saying this, but the word entitlement just runs runs immediately into my head about all these kids today. And it sounds like I'm painting with a broad brush.
No, but you're right. I would say that, and I'm not.
They need the Mercedes, and they need to have this, and they have to have that, and it should all be handed to them, and they feel entitled to be able to have whatever they want whenever they want it because we're in a click order. It shows up in 30 minutes, or it's free, or Amazon ships it for free in 2 days. There's such a instant gratification with everything that I think to that point, if they're on a date, if it was a guy or a girl on any kind of a date, they feel, well, what do you mean? I bought you dinner, or I went out, or I'm
You're
entitled
totally
to
right.
sex. I'm entitled to whatever. And I just think.
Well,
that-
you're drunk and I should have sex.
Right. Well, why wouldn't we? That's what we do. It goes back to the other words, the respect and the all of the other things that you should earn. That kind of gets thrown out the window. But I think to me, just entitlement is such a big word that people, the younger, not younger, there are people that are our age who feel that they're entitled to things, and we just call them assholes. But
Correct.
That
Because
was,
after a certain age, that's what it becomes.
Right.
I look at, and actually,
Fair.
I've thought that about my brother and sister at certain points. Like, you guys are so super entitled, but then I even look at myself when I was younger, and I think that my brother and sister and I have outgrown it, to some extent. But my parents, went through their parents went through the Depression, and so they didn't give their kids anything because they hoarded the money and they hoarded everything, and
you don't know if we're going to run out of
they didn't get
it.
anything.
Right.
And so my parents have both said to me, we want to provide you things that we didn't ever have.
Right.
We didn't get these luxuries, and we want to give our kids luxuries like a first car when you turn 16. Like, we'll just give it to you. And we want to give you a college education. Like, here, we're going to pay for it. And I'm going to buy you this and I'm going to buy you that because, it's that mentality of like, I want my kids to have a better life than me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's what has left, I think, a lot of my generation and my brother and sister.
Well, you got a car. I should have a car.
Well, exactly. But I think it's left us all. There's all a sense of entitlement until we hit a certain age. But there are a lot of people that are so, they're more and more and more and more and more entitled that they never get that age. Like, I hit an age where I realized that it's embarrassing that I'm asking my parents for money. You know what I mean? Like I hit that. Like I was at a point where I thought, well, duh, my parents give me money. That's just what they do. And then I got to a point where I was like, this is embarrassing now. Like, I'm not going to go to them anymore. And my brother and sister have done the same thing. But I think even younger than my brother and sister, or even in that same age, they never hit that. This is embarrassing point.
Right, because they don't know any different. I'm going to hitch up on 2 points. I was at a concert with an overnight with my sister and some of her friends from high school that are all a little bit older than me, and we were talking about kids, and everybody was talking about, they all had teenagers. And the one girl said, she's like, I know it's wrong. I know I'm setting the wrong example. She's like, but I remember how hard I worked when I was 16 and 17 to get my first car, and how upset I was that I was like working all night and going to school and doing all this stuff because I wanted a car. She's like, I don't want my daughter to feel that. She says, so I just bought her the car. And she's like, I know it's wrong. I know. And she was like, we're sitting there drinking wine. We're in a hotel room. She's like, I know it's wrong. But I can't make my kid go through that and have those hard nights of like not sleeping and missing out on dances. She's like, but now my kid thinks you just get a car for free. And I sent the wrong message, but I can't send the other message because I can't watch my kid work nights. Because all of us were raised in the same neighborhood. Like, these girls all went to the same grade school as me and my sisters. So we were from the same, like, economic background of, like, there was no car coming, ever.
You have to work for it.
Right.
You want the car,
either
you're
going
working
to work for it, or there was just an old shitty car down the block that maybe would run for 1 year before it just collapsed.
Yeah.
So then your point with so I don't know, but that. I mean, that really struck a chord with me. Is like the parents just didn't know any better. But Jane Fonda's point, and I have to agree with it. And your mom kind of said it too in a way. Mama Di had something to say about it. The thing that they said was empathy. You have to understand. Like, yes, you have your sense of entitlement, and I think the Republican Party suffers a lot from this, and Christians do. Religions, but you have to look at people and say, yes, I have money, but you don't, and you have to understand that what I expect is not what you expect.
Right.
So you have to know, like, what happens if I ruin this girl's life at 16. There is a consequence. It's not a video game. That's a real person, and you have to teach empathy that it's a real person whose life you're ruining. And you may think it's funny, and you may think you have every right to like rape this girl, but if you don't teach them empathy from the very start,
that's a good point.
we learned it from SeaWorld. Empathetic. It's empathy. Understand what happens to other people what your actions have to other people.
I love it.
And speaking of understanding things, if you don't understand that next week is our final show of 2013, you're going to miss our final show of the year. We thank you for being with us all this time. We are going to take a 2-week break, but we are here next Tuesday for sure. So
Someday
please join
we'll take
us.
a 2-week break.
Yeah, there's that, something like that. It's the show. We're here every Tuesday night on Q Talk America. I'm Clayton McKee along with Katie, Marnie, and Al. We will leave you with this final thought as we do each and every Tuesday. We will see you next Tuesday! Woohoo! Hello.
You've been listening to The Show on Q Talk America.